Hello everyone, if you're new to my channel, consider liking and subscribing. It will make me feel wonderful if you do that. Thanks. By the way, I also have another Naruto and Luffy fanfiction channel. If you are interested, link is in the description.
King and Queen of the Pirates by Bleach Anime Fan 1. Once there was a legendary pirate by the name of Goldie Roger. Before he died, he had left a treasure at a place called One Piece. However, many pirates from all over the world has set sail to find it. Monkey D. Luffy and his twin sister Monkey D. Aya promised themselves that they will be the ones to find it and become king and queen of the pirates. Adios.
The three kids were running with Kaya deeper into the forest trying to get away from the hypnotist. "Is that weird hypnotist guy still behind us?" Pepper panted as he ran. "I don't know. I can't see him anymore. Let's lose him for good," Onion replied. "Don't you worry, Miss Kaya. The Usopp pirates are going to keep you safe and sound," he reassured Kaya. She smiled at the three brave boys who were risking their lives to protect her. "Yes, thank you," Kaya said, gratefully. Suddenly, they heard a loud crash behind them. The four quickly hid as they heard footsteps coming closer. Django. The hypnotist was throwing 2 rings as he passed trees, slicing through them, making a path. As the rings came back to Django, he looked around and didn't see Kaya and 3 boys. He gritted his teeth in frustration and cursed silently to himself. "Damn, they're not there," he muttered. "Boys, I'm coming to get you. Do you really think that you can run from me?" Django shouted. The 3 boys and Kaya were hiding behind a fallen tree, staying quiet as the hypnotist came closer to where they were. "We can do this the easy way, or can I destroy this entire forest?" Django exclaimed, angrily. "Whoa, that guy's is really mad," Carrot said. "And he can do a lot worse than just hypnotize people," Onion added. "Where have you gone?" Django shouted. The 2 boys noticed Carrot was going to sneeze. Their eyes widened and quickly covered Carrot's face, stopping him. The hypnotist walked past them as everyone held their breaths, hoping that he wouldn't come them. Come out, wherever you are," Django shouted as he slashed through some more trees, walking away. Everyone let out a sigh of relief, glad that the hypnotist hadn't found them. Meanwhile, in the forest as well, Zoro was running carrying Usopp over his shoulder. The swordsman was completely lost. "Go east, hey, I said go east, so to east already. This is the wrong direction," Usopp exclaimed, frustrated, pointing in the right direction. "Where's east?" Zoro shouted. "Turn right," Usopp shouted. "But that's where we came from," Zoro argued. Back with the kids and Kaya, they still trying to escape from Django as they ran deeper into the woods. They ran past a fallen tree when Kaya suddenly tripped on a rock, collapsed onto the ground. Her vision went blurry and she felt her lungs starting to burn in her chest as she panted, trying to catch her breath. "Miss Kaya," Onion yelled as he and the other 2 boys turned back, running to her. "I'm sorry, you should go on without me," Kaya panted, still trying to catch her breath. "What are you talking about?" Carrot exclaimed. "We're under strict orders to protect you," Onion told her. He placed his hand on Kaya's forehead only to recoil it back in shock. "Oh no, she's got a really bad fever," Onion shouted. "What? Hang in there, Kaya," Carrot cried, panicking. "A doctor, we need a doctor." "You idiot, we don't have time for that. Someone's trying to kill her," Pepper shouted, angrily, as he looked at Carrot. Suddenly, they heard a loud thud as a tree from nearby had fallen, startling the 4. "Show yourself, you brats," Django shouted as he took out one of his chakram and threw it, slicing some trees, clearing a path. He was getting closer towards them. Kaya turned to the 3 boys. "You 3 have done more than enough and I thank you, but I want you to go," she said, smiling softly at the 3 kids. "Where did you brats go? It's no use running. Come on out," they heard the hypnotist call out. One by one, the boys lowered their weapons to the ground. "If we left Kaya and run away right now, we'd probably survive, right?" Pepper sighed. "Yeah, probably," Onion replied as he looked down, clutching the shovel in his hands tightly. "And our captain always said to run with your tail between your legs if you think you're going to lose," Carrot finished, spinning the frying pan in his hands. They heard footsteps getting closer to their location. "Those brats think that they can mock me," Django muttered under his breath. "Then again, our captain is a liar," Onion said as he narrowed his eyes looking down at Kaya. But even he ignored own advice. He tried so hard to protect us. He risked his life for us, Pepper agreed. We swore to protect Kaya. That's what we're going to do. Carrot finished, raising his frying pan. The three boys looked at each other and nodded. They placed their weapons over top of each other as they vowed. Alright then, Usopp pirates, let's fight, let's do this. Stop this. You're no match for him, you're only kids. You mustn't put your life on the line for my sake, Kaya protested, looking at the boys with wide eyes with fear. If we don't want to die, then we'll fight for our lives. Carrot interrupted her. Kaya stared at the boy in shock and the other two boys. Just as our captain always says. Carrot finished. Onion and Pepper nodded their heads in agreement. Back at shore, the twins were standing over Kuro, who was lying on the ground with one of his cat claws shattered. Luffy and Aya smirked. The Black Cat pirates watched in shock at Two's strength. Wait, did they just? One exclaimed. They just Captain Kuro's cat claw, another shouted. That leaves only 5 more to go. Luffy stated as Kuro slowly began to stand up. Don't worry guys, he can still fight plenty, one shouted. Yeah, he still has that other claw, the Black Cat pirates cheered. You can do it, rip those brats to shreds, Captain Kuro. Shut your mouths. All of you, Kuro shouted angrily, silencing the entire crew. Soon enough I'll deal with you in only the appropriate manner, extermination. I'll also kill that fool, Django. He said now standing up, with a dark look on his face. Luffy, Aya and the pirates gaped at the butler in shock. He would kill his own crewmates. What a jerk, Aya growled. But why kill his captain? One pirate asked. Don't joke around like that, Captain Kuro, another shouted. Your plan can still work perfectly, one pirate said. Kuro stayed silent for a moment, before adjusting his glasses. This plan is no longer your concern. When all of you are dead, this village won't know who to blame for this atrocity. He shouted. I never intended to let any of you hopeless mongrels in this village alive. No one, on one who knows my true identity can be allowed to live to tell about it. And no way. He planned to get rid of us from the very beginning. That's right. There years ago, I planned to erase Captain Kuro and every last person who ever knew him. It's all a part of my plan. Kuro said with a twisted smirk and a mad look in his eyes. You guys are the most uncool pirates that I know, Luffy said. Kuro turned to the Straw Hat Captain. We're uncool, huh? Pirates are nothing but savages, incapable of resisting their animalistic nature. Without my plans, what could they have possibly accomplished? A crew is nothing to me. They are simply a means to an end. Crew members are just pawns in the captain's game. Whether my men die is up to me and me alone. If I tell them to fight they will fight, and if I order them to die they had better do it. They know the punishment for disobedience. He smirked, but it dropped when he saw the two twins glaring at him. You sicken me, Aya said, disgusted. This is how pirates are, don't talk down to me, girl, Kuro roared angrily. You know, it doesn't matter how many hundreds of thousands of men follow you as their captain. You will never be as good as Usopp, Luffy said with a smirk. Kuro twitched. You fool. Are you saying that I'm inferior to a kid pretending to be a pirate? He asked. That's right, Luffy said. Kuro laughed. Well, aren't you funny? Don't get all cocky just because you snapped off one of my cat claws. How exactly is he better than me? He shouted as he quickly moved, vanishing into thin air then reappearing behind Aya. Just as he was about to strike, he heard her say. Because he's got heart. Aya smirked. Kuro froze as his claws were just inches from the girl's face. What? Aya jumped, sending the butler flying into the cliff wall. A guy like you doesn't know what a true pirate is. Luffy shouted. How insulting. It would appear that you need a lesson in what real pirates are like. It's not pleasant. Kuro made a sickening smirk. Your first lesson will be about terror. A lesson I've learned well, as I stared down death. He stood up and began weaving side to side. Luffy looked at the butler confused while Aya got into a fight stance. The Black Cat pirates stared in horror. What's the big deal? He's just wobbling back and forth, Luffy asked. Get ready, Luffy. Aya warned the Straw Hat Captain. Luffy turned to his sister still confused. Get ready for what? He's not even doing anything. he shouted. Suddenly, Kuro vanished into thin air before anyone could blink, and a purple cloud began traveling down the slope. It passed Luffy and Aya heading directly towards the crew. On the Black Cat pirate's ship, Nami had snuck on while everyone was distracted and was now carrying a bag full of treasure. What a small haul. You know, I thought that they would have more treasure than this. She walked over to the front of the ship and looked to see that everyone wasn't moving. Let's see if they've finished the fight yet. Her face fell, seeing the look of horror on the crew's face. Everyone's just stopped. Is it over? As Nami finished, the purple cloud glided towards the crew. Then one of them suddenly got slashed and he fell to the ground, dead. Everyone gaped in horror, startled by what just happened as Kuro reappeared in front of them. What's he doing over there? Luffy exclaimed. He's everywhere, Aya shouted. One by one, each crew member was getting slashed and fallen to the ground, dead. Luffy and Aya stared in horror, seeing each one fall. What's happening out there? People are getting cut to ribbons, Nami shouted in alarm. Kuro continued his slaughter on the pirate crew as Luffy and Aya watched. Stop it, Aya shouted. Anger began to build in Luffy, seeing more crew members fall as they were slashed. Don't you have any heart? They were your friends, he roared. Nami gasped. She turned to the Straw Hat captain with a puzzled look on her face. He didn't even care that these pirates were his enemy, but he was still willing to defend them. Just who this guy? Nami thought to herself. She stared at him with a soft look in her eyes. Luffy, she murmured, sadly. Suddenly, Aya was slashed on her arm, then her leg and back. Come out and fight, instead of hiding, you coward, Aya shouted. Aya! Luffy shouted as he turned to his twin. Then Luffy was slashed as well as Kuro slashed the boy's cheek, and the rest of his body. Luffy growled angrily and reached out and managed to grab a hold on Kuro. He flung the butler over, crashing him into the ground. Luffy's hat fell off as he did. I found you. Luffy smirked with a wicked grin on his face. You bastard, you should have accepted your fate like a good boy. Now look at what you've done. Thanks to you my little pawns are still alive. It would have been better to let them die. Kuro said, coldly. Luffy and Aya frowned. So now what? Do you have something to say? Yeah. No matter what happens today, I will never lose to you. Someone like you can't be like me. You see, you are going to die here today. But first you are going to writhe in agony as I hack you up like a fish. I'm going to carve you up and I'm going to enjoy it. Kuro smirked. Luffy gasped as he saw that the butler was going to use his technique again. He and Aya glared at Kuro. No, you won't, the two shouted as they charged at the butler. But Kuro vanished again just as they got close to him. Damn it! Aya cursed under her breath. She and Luffy looked around trying to find the pirate. Luffy clenched his teeth. Back in the forest, Django was getting frustrated as he still hadn't found Kaya or the three kids. Come out, you brats. I know you're hiding, give yourselves up. He shouted as he searched through the thick woods, waiting. Suddenly, a white flag came up from behind a giant rock as it waved in the air. We surrender, we'll hand her over to you. Come over here and we'll take you to her. Just don't kill us, Pepper shouted, waving the flag back and forth. Django snorted as he smirked. Do you think I'm stupid? I won't fall for that, you silly rugrats, he muttered as he took a step forward. In the bushes, Onion grinned wildly and pulled a rope in his hands. The rope was tied to a tree as Onion yanked on it, lifting up from the ground. Django's leg got caught in it as he tripped over it. Oh damn it! Django cursed to himself. We got him, Pepper shouted as he jumped on top of a log. Now, all three kids charged at the fallen hypnotist. Django rolled on his back to see Onion as he held a shaker and began to shake Pepper onto the hypnotist's face. Pepper attacked. Django began to sneeze violently. Carrot charged at Django and raised his frying pan with a yell and slammed it down right onto the hypnotist's balls. The man let out a loud howl as he screamed in pain. The two kids took off as Django began to stand up. He looked up to see the three kids behind a giant log as they tried to push it. Django had no time to dodge it as it came down, slamming right on top of his foot. He shrieked in pain and started hopping on it. But the three kids were not finished and they picked up their weapons and charged at Django. The hypnotist heard them and Carrot and Pepper missed as they fell to the ground. Django managed to grab a hold of Onion by his neck, lifting the boy in the air. "Looks like you bit off a little more than you can chew," Django hissed, completely furious. "No, we failed," Pepper groaned as he tried to sit up. "Real pirates don't kindly to being beaten by the likes of you." Django turned and threw Onion, causing the boy to slam hard right into a tree. Onion, Carrot and Pepper cried out, worried. "You pretend pirates are in over your heads," Django said, making Carrot and Pepper flinch. He picked the two boys up and tossed them one by one into the tree. "Rich girl, I know you're here. Listen, unless you show yourself, I'll execute these three brats, and I'll make sure to do it in the most painful fashion," Django growled as he picked up his hat off the ground, placing it back on its head. Suddenly, he heard a rustle in the bushes and saw Kaya stepped out. "There you are," the hypnotist smirked, darkly. "No, Miss Kaya. Run," Pepper yelled, worried. Onion screamed as he tried to beg Kaya to run. The sound of Onion's scream caught Zoro's and Usopp's attention as they heard it not too far off. "Hear that?" Zoro asked. "Yeah, that's them all right," Usopp replied. "They're the other way," Zoro said as he began to run towards the sound where the voices were coming from, trying to hurry. Kaya stood in front of Django with a frown on her face. "There's no need for that. Leave the children be." "All right, the will," she said, softly, and sighed. "No, Kaya. He's going to kill you as soon as you write that will," Pepper yelled. Kaya flinched before her eyes turned sad, looking away from the three boys. "I'm sorry. Silly girl, don't you know you can't bargain with me?" Django scoffed, grinning at Kaya. "Captain Kuro specifically instructed me to get rid of everyone." He shifted his gaze towards the kids and Kaya gasped. She looked down at the chakram in the hypnotist's hand. Kaya sneaked closer while he was distracted and quickly grabbed it, retreating. Django let out a startled shout in surprise. "If you don't do exactly as I say, then you won't get to kill me and won't write that will," Kaya demanded. She held her head back holding the chakram, dangerously close to her neck. Hold on, calm down. Don't be so hasty," Django stuttered, nervously. "Stop, Kaya," Pepper exclaimed as the other two boys gritted their teeth. Django stood in silence for a few seconds watching Kaya, before sighing and clutched his hat. "All right, fine. I'll let the little brats go. But, in their condition they won't be making too much of quick getaway." He walked the ring out of her hands and handed Kaya a quill. "Here." Kaya sat on her knees next to a stump and began writing out her will on the paper. The three boys gritted their teeth angrily as they watched, frustrated as they couldn't do anything. "And don't forget to sign your name," Django said as he watched from over Kaya's shoulder. "I know." When Kaya finished, Django picked it up and began reading it over. "And I leave all of my fortune to my faithful butler, Klahadore." He finished with a pleased look on his face. Django folded the paper and put in the pocket of his coat as Kaya stood on her feet. "This is good. It'll definitely work. Now, remember, we had a deal. You promised that you wouldn't kill them." Kaya was cut off as Django suddenly lunged forward and grabbed her neck with his hand and slammed her against the tree, pinning Kaya to it. "Kaya!" the three boys cried. "There, over there." Carrot's eyes widened as he turned his head, with his eyes widened in shock, to see Zoro carrying Usopp from a distance. "Captain!" The other two boys saw them as well and grinned as they saw Usopp. "There, over there, get going," Usopp ordered Zoro, pointing at the hypnotist. "Okay, I'm going to go," Zoro shouted as he dropped Usopp from his shoulder and ran, gripping onto the sheath from one of his katana. "That's enough of that, hypno freak. Let the girl go." Django's eyes widened as he turned, shocked to see the swordsman. "Damn it. Looks like I was followed. I guess I better finish off the rich girl quickly then," Django shouted as he raised his weapon into the air above Kaya's head. Luffy and Aya stood still waiting for Kuro to make his move. Suddenly, claws scratched the ground, heading straight towards the two twins. Scratches appeared on Luffy's shoulder and Aya's cheek. The two twins were completely unfazed by the attack as they stood silently. In fact, they were getting annoyed by the cat pirate's antics as he continued to disappear into thin air. Suddenly, Luffy leaned back while Aya back-flipped out of the way as Kuro swiped at them with his claws. Kuro smugly grinned at the two while Luffy stared back at him calmly as Kuro vanished again, then landed behind of the twins. Aren't you tired? I bet you are after all that dancing around you've been doing. Luffy asked, tilting his head, curious, as he and Aya turned, facing him. Why not drop this twinkle toes act and fight us already, scaredy cat? Aya smirked, taunting the butler. Kuro shot the two twins a glare. Don't get cocky. That was simply a warm-up. Kuro smirked as he pushed up his glasses. The real rite begins now. Soon I will be feasting on your fears, complemented by your sweet cries of agony. Luffy gasped as he saw the man begin to sway side to side again. Aya frowned as she grinded her teeth, bracing herself for the attack. Kuro vanished as he charged at full speed towards the twins. Claw marks scratched the side of the slope of the hill heading straight towards them. Luffy and Aya quickly dodged out of the way. As Kuro was about to turn around, he saw one of Luffy's hands in the reflection of his claws. Kuro quickly dodged it and ran straight towards the Straw Hat Captain. Luffy shot both his hands and managed to grab Kuro's legs, making the butler lose his balance. He roughly fell to the ground with a hard thud. The Black Cat pirates gasped. Their eyes widened in shock as they saw Aya as she pinned Kuro so he couldn't move. She wrapped her legs around the butler's waist while grabbing onto his arms tightly so he couldn't attack. She smirked wildly as the butler struggled to get her off of him. Nice try, you jerk, she said. Kirk growled, angrily. Damn you! Get off of me! He shouted as he continued to shake her off but to no avail. Luffy laughed. Wow, butler man, right now, your life must really suck. Your plan for years went to complete and total failure. Luffy said, grinning as he watched in amusement. Let go, Kuro growled. But Aya still kept her hold on him. He could feel her grip beginning to grow tighter and tighter the more he struggled. He hissed in pain as he felt pressure on his arms. His eyes widened in alarm. This girl. She was planning to break his arms. Where did she learn a marine fighting move? Then Kuro screamed as he desperately struggled trying to shake Aya off. The cat pirate crew stared in shock at him. They have never known their former captain to scream in fear. However, they were relieved that he wasn't attacking them anymore. But, to see him like this, it was shocking for them. That weird kid caught Captain Kuro, one shouted. If those kids manage to beat him, then that means Captain Kuro won't be able to slaughter us, right? Another asked. The crew looked at each other, then suddenly they began to cheer on the two twins. Shut up! Aya shouted angrily at them. You have no right to cheer us on, Luffy shouted as he launched his head, stretching his neck, screaming at them. The crew flinched. Time to die. Django raised his chakram ring, getting ready to deliver the final blow on Kaya. But, before he could, Pepper, Onion and Carrot had managed to get up and were now back onto their feet. They swung a shovel, hitting the hypnotist on his back. Django hit his lip as he held back a cry of pain. You stupid snot-nosed brats. Then he turned to the three boys angrily, kicking them away from, turned back to Kaya getting ready to strike. Oh no you don't, Zoro yelled out. The hypnotist turned his attention towards the swordsman. Zoro quickly drawed out his sword and cut a thick branch a few feet away as the hypnotist stared in confusion. Looks like you're one step too late, swordsman, Django smirked. I wouldn't say that. Zoro smugly smirked, then stepped to the side, showing Usopp with his slingshot aimed directly at the hypnotist. Excellent, that branch was getting in the way of my shot. What? Django gasped. Usopp, you're here, Kaya called out. Usopp fired a pachinko ball and it connected right into Django's forehead, exploding. The force knocked the hypnotist back, releasing Kaya from his grasp. Kaya ducked down, covering her ears from the explosion, smirking, as the Django fell to the ground, defeated. Back at the shore, Kuro was still trying to get Aya off of him. Let go of me. Just admit defeat already. This is only going to get worse for you, Aya replied, still holding on. You idiot, I will not be beaten like this. Aya clicked her teeth, irritated by the butler's stubbornness. It was time to finish this. She sighed, gripping his arms even more tighter. She leaned on closer to his face with a wicked smirk. Well, you did, she said. Aya pulled her head back and slammed it hard against Kuro's. Kuro's eyes rolled into the back of his head as he fell back, collapsing onto the ground out cold. The crew stared completely stunned and in shock at the two twins standing next to each other, as with the infamous and revered Captain Kuro lying on the ground knocked out beneath their feet. That crazy rubber guy and witch beat Captain Kuro, one gasped. If the Marines couldn't, how could they have possibly done it? Another exclaimed. Jay, just who are you? I'm Monkey D. Luffy. Luffy stated, not showing his face to them. Monkey D. Aya. Aya said. The only time a pirate should abandon his needs is when he dies. I would never lose to a coward who ditches his name, betrays his friends, and run from life on the sea. Luffy continued. The crew looked at each other confused. They weren't familiar with those names. Luffy? Aya? I've never heard that name before. You should remember our names for the rest of your lives. Aya shouted, flashing an maddeningly grin. 'Cause one of these days we're going to be king and queen of the pirates. Luffy shouted, proudly. He picked Kuro up and lifted him. Now go. Luffy shouted as he tossed Kuro, launching him at the crew. And never come back. The pirates nodded and immediately took Kuro along with some of their fallen crew members without any hesitation as they screamed and cried in fear. Nami had managed to sneak off the ship, carrying a bag of stolen treasure. Just as the Black Cat pirates began to sail off, she ran over to the two twins as they collapsed to the ground. Luffy? She shouted out, worried. Are you two all right? She took in their injuries as scratches were all over their bodies. Luffy stared up at her with a tired grin. Nami laid the sack on the ground and sat down next to the captain, seeing that he was nearly about to fall asleep. Nami's expression softened as she turned her head, staring at the ocean. I expect you to collapse after what you've just went through, she said, smiling. You did good, Luffy. Both of you did. Are you okay? Nami heard Luffy as he panted. Her eyes widened and she turned her head back to him. She smiled, holding her arm. I'm fine. It's just a scratch. Luffy smiled in relief. Then the two heard someone snoring very loudly next to them. Luffy and Nami looked to see that Aya had fallen asleep. She was laying her back with her mouth side open as she snored. Well, looks like Aya's out. Nami deadpanned. Luffy giggled, watching his sister sleep. Yeah. Hey, tell me, why were you so mad earlier? Nami asked him. 'Cause I truly hate people like them. They're so wrong. That is not how a pirate should act. Luffy said as Nami listened. He stared up, looking at the white clouds in the sky as they slowly drifted away. What are you talking about? Of course it isn't. Most pirates aren't as brave and honorable as you make them out to be. I'd say Captain Kuro is pretty standard, Nami said as she picked up Luffy's hat that was lying next to her feet. Luffy stared at her, looking back at the clouds. I want some meat, he said. Nami stared at him with a look of disbelief. She angrily shoved the captain's hat on his face. You're unbelievable, Nami snapped, irritated. However, she started to break into a giggling fit. What was it about this guy that made her feel this way? She hadn't felt this familiar feeling in a long time. True freedom. Hey guys, think you can keep everything that just happened here a secret? Kaya and the three boys stared in shock at Usopp's words as they looked at the long-nosed sniper. What, a secret? Why would we keep all this a secret? Pepper asked, confused. Yeah, why, we've put our lives on the line to save the village. Carrot shouted as well. Now, everyone will change their opinion of you, so instead of Usopp the liar, you'll be Usopp the hero, Pepper finished. Really, Usopp? You need to clear up this misunderstanding, Kaya said softly, making Usopp look at her. Usopp chuckled, then looked down at his feet. Misunderstanding? I was known as the village liar because I always lie all the time, Miss Kaya. He shook his head and grinned up at her. They were right not to believe me. Besides, there's no point in scaring people with something that's already over. And I seriously doubt any more pirates, like Kuro, is ever going to show up. There's no reason for pirates to attack our out-of-the-way little village. So listen up, pretend that this never happened, okay? This was all then just another one of my great big lies. Kaya and the three boys stared with wide eyes at Usopp, understanding what he meant. Usopp sighed, dropping his head. I won't force you, if you don't want. No, let's do it. I'll do whatever it takes for the good of the village, Captain, Carrot insisted. Me too, Onion agreed. Me, as well, Pepper shouted as well. Usopp smiled, then turned his head towards the blonde-haired girl who was staring at him silently. Kaya, will you tell? He asked, smiling softly. Her eyes softened and she shook her head, smiling back. No, Usopp was in his house, some of the remaining of his stuff, putting it into a giant backpack that was overfilled. Earlier that morning he had called the three boys to their hangout to tell them that the Usopp pirates were officially disbanded and that he was heading out to sea. After meeting Luffy and Aya, something stirred in him that made Usopp want to take a chance at becoming a brave warrior of the sea, to become a real pirate. The three boys were saddened by Usopp's choice. At first they didn't believe him as they thought it one of his usual lies. But, seeing the determination in the long-nosed sniper's eyes, the three boys knew that Usopp was dead serious with this. With a heavy heart the gang bid him farewell and good luck for a safe return. As Usopp left them, the three young boys quietly vowed to each other as they swore look over the village until Usopp returned. Usopp closed the flap of his backpack and sat down on his bed. He looked around the room in the house that he had lived in his entire life. He was beginning to feel anxious at the thought of leaving until he looked out the window at the white mansion sitting on top of the hill. He was definitely going to miss Kaya, but Usopp had to leave, otherwise he wouldn't be able to follow after his lifelong dream. Usopp smiled as he thought of what adventures he was going to have and exciting tales he was going to tell Kaya once he returned. Usopp sighed as he stood up. All packed. I guess it's farewell to this house too. He lifted the bag strapping onto his shoulders and struggled to walk towards the door. Just as he walked out of the house, the backpack had become stuck in the door frame. This stupid backpack. Usopp grunted, pulling on the strap, tried to budge the heavy bag out. The frames of the door began to creak as Usopp continued to pull until it gave loose and broke. Usopp was launched forward and was now rolling down the hillside, screaming, out of control. Luffy, Aya, Nami and Zoro were at the pub where they were before with Usopp, eating. Now that we've eaten we should probably get going, Zoro said. Luffy agreed as he patted his belly with content. Yeah, you're right. There you are. The group heard someone call out to them. They turned their heads to see Kaya and Mary as the two walked over to them. Hello there, miss. Luffy grinned as he waved to her. Are you all right to be out of bed? Nami asked, worried about the frail woman's health. Kaya smiled softly. Yes. I think now I can truly start recovering. You see, my sickness was caused by the mental shock of missing both my parents. And Usopp's friendship helped me start getting better. I can't stay in bed forever, you know. You've all done so much for me. I can't thank you enough. I prepared a present for you from the bottom of my heart to show you how grateful that I am for everything you've done for me. I'd be honored if you'd accept it, she finished. Kaya and Mary led the group towards the shore. They stopped as they started in awe and shock at what was in front of them, a ship. A real caravel, Nami exclaimed, excitedly. Are you actually giving this to us? Luffy exclaimed excitedly, looking over at Kaya with a wide grin on his face. As a token of my appreciation, the girl chuckled, making a small smile. It's a slightly older model. But I pedal designed and she sails like a dream, Mary said proudly as he explained the ship to the group. She's a fine ship and her name is the Going Merry. It's beautiful, Aya shouted, admiring the ship's craftsmanship. Luffy was already eyeing the figurehead of the ship, anticipating on riding it. What a cool ship. You guys see the front? It's totally awesome, Luffy shouted, excitedly. Just as Mary was about to explain more about the ship to the captain, Nami stopped him. Hold on, you'd be better off explaining the technical stuff to me. Why yes, of course. Mary answered. We've loaded it with all the provisions that you might need on a long voyage, Kaya explained. Aya turned the blonde-haired girl, smiling. Thanks, she said, gratefully. Kaya made a soft smile. Don't mention it. Suddenly, they heard a loud shrill scream of terror. They turned their heads to see Hello rolling down the hill, barreling straight towards them. Oh no, Usopp, Kaya cried out. Luffy and Zoro watched as the long-nosed sniper was coming closer. Hey, what's he doing? Looks fun, Luffy chuckled. Well, we'd better stop him. That weirdo is on a collision course towards the ship, the swordsman said. The two raised the legs, stopping Usopp from coming closer to the ship. Unfortunately, the sniper's face collided with Luffy and Zoro's feet as they did. Thanks guys. Usopp groaned, painfully. So, you're really doing it? You're going to take to the ocean? Kaya asked, sadly, with her voice slightly wavering as she did. Yeah, I've decided to get going before I have time to change my mind. Please, don't stop me. I won't. I know it's time for you to go. Usopp chuckled. He turned to her, smiling. Kaya, don't be sad about it. Just think, the next time that I come here, I'll tell you more about my adventures that'll sound more like lies than my old lies. Kaya felt her cheeks beginning to burn and she smiled back softly. Good, I'll look forward to it. She giggled happily. The two stared silently at each other. Usopp stared behind her looking at the ship, seeing Luffy and Aya leaning over the railing as they silently watched the two. Then he drifted his gaze over to Aya, looking directly at her. He was definitely going to miss those beautiful, unusual colored eyes of hers. You guys take care. I hope we meet again sometime, he said, grinning at them. How come? Luffy asked, confused, tilting his head. Well, because, Usopp replied as he raised his eye at the Straw Hat Captain. Did you become antisocial or something? I'm taking life on the high seas and I hope that we'll meet again, that's all. What are you talking about? Get up here, Aya shouted, as she gestured Usopp to come aboard the ship. THS belief. Luffy smiled as he leaned more closer over the railing. We're friends, right? So get on, he said, calmly. We want you to be part of the crew. So get on already. Zoro rolled his eyes. Usopp stared at the Luffy, Nami, Aya and Zoro in shock, trying to comprehend what was they said. Then he felt excitement began to crash through his entire body. Usopp jumped with his fist in the air as he ran over to the giant ship. This is it, I'm really a pirate captain now. Don't be stupid, Usopp. I'm the captain, Luffy shouted as he leaned over the railing. Take care, Kaya. Aya called out the blonde-haired girl as the ship started to sail off. Kaya smiled as she and Mary waved as the ship sailed. Take care, Kaya shouted, waving goodbye. As the ship was halfway away from the island heading towards the horizon, Kaya's smile suddenly dropped. Floozy. Miss Kaya. Mary sputtered in shock. It has been 3 days after everyone had left Syrup Village. The Going Merry was quietly sailing along in the sea. Small waves crashed and rocked against the ship while clouds slowly drifted above in the starry night sky. The newly made Jolly Roger flag, painted by Usopp, was waving high on the mast as a gentle breeze of wind blew the ship on its journey. The flag had a skull, wearing Luffy's straw hat, and crossbones on it. Eventually, everyone agreed to be called the Straw Hat Pirates as the official name for the pirate crew. Luffy, Usopp, Aya were sleeping together in the crew cabin. Zoro was on lookout duty on the crow's nest, watching for any signs of trouble. But, he eventually fell asleep as well, snoring very loudly. Nami chose to sleep in a separate room with a bed. Suddenly, Luffy accidentally kicked Aya in the head, painfully, waking her up. She sat up, as she glared at the Straw Hat Captain who was still fast asleep. Dang it, Luffy, Aya growled as she thought to herself as she rubbed her head. She was about to punch him right on the top of his head, but she was too tired to do so. She tried to go back to sleep as she lay down but couldn't get comfortable as she tossed and turned. Aya sighed and got up. She looked over at Luffy and Usopp to see the two sleeping together. Aya had to admit it, she and Luffy had grown closer to Usopp over the past couple of days. He was more than just a member of the crew. Usopp was practically their brother. She felt the same for Zoro and surprisingly for Nami, whom she had some fun-girl talk with, considering being the only 2 girls on the ship. Aya smiled, then turned around, and quietly walked up the stairs. However, as she did, Usopp had woken up hearing Aya leave and quietly followed after her, leaving Luffy alone sleeping in the crew's cabin, snoring loudly. As Aya walked on the ship, she noticed that it was night time, probably in the middle of the night. She looked up at the crow's nest. Zoro, you see anything? She called out. She got her answer when she heard loud snoring coming from Zoro. Aya chuckled softly, shaking her head. You bonehead, she murmured. Sleeping on the job. Looks like she was on lookout duty for now. Aya walked over to the side of the ship, seeing the waves crash against the boat and stars reflected in the water as the ship sailed. Then Aya heard someone call out to her, hearing their footsteps as they walked over to her. Aya turned around to see Usopp until stopped, now standing right beside her. Hey, what are you doing up? Usopp asked. Couldn't sleep. She answered Usopp. Why are you up? Oh yeah, that reminds me. Usopp rummaged in the pocket of his overalls and pulled out Aya's necklace, holding it out in front of her. Aya stared at it, surprised. The broken chain was now fixed. "My necklace?" she exclaimed, happily, taking it from him. "You fixed it?" Usopp smiled. "Yeah, it was no problem. It was nothing that I couldn't fix." Usopp jumped, startled, when Aya suddenly hugged him. "Thank you, Usopp. You don't know how much this means to me. I could just kiss you." Usopp blushed and Aya released him stepping back. She froze, blushing as well, realizing what she had just said. Neither said a word for a while, listening to the waves. Aya slowly shifted her gaze over to Usopp, seeing him still looking at the sea. The more Aya thought, the more she couldn't get the image of her head. Of how Usopp jumped himself in front of Kuro's attack, taking the blow that was meant to be for her. He could have died. "Can I ask you something? It's been kind of bothering me for a while now," I asked, not looking at him, gazing out towards the ocean. "Sure, what is it?" Usopp asked. "Why did you risk your life for me back on your island?" Usopp's eyes widened. "Are you kidding me? I just couldn't let you get hurt," he said. Aya bit her bottom lip, playing with hands. She couldn't do this. She can't get close to anyone. As much as she wanted to experience love for the first time, to have a boyfriend, to have a first kiss, she can't. It would only hurt more. It would only hurt them more. She wasn't going to put anyone through that. "Usopp, can you promise me something?" she asked. "Yeah, sure, what is it?" he asked, confused. "If somewhere down in the future, I'm unable to fight or in danger, don't risk your life for me, like you just did." Aya, what are saying? "I can't promise something like that," Usopp sputtered, shocked. "Why would you ask me to do something like that?" "I'm dying." Usopp froze, staring at her. He stared her confused. Aya was dying? "What are you talking about?" he asked. "I have an unknown disease that's incurable and I will eventually die." "It's not contagious if you're worried about that," she explained. "It damages my lungs and eventually my body will eventually fail. Soon, I won't be able to walk, that's what the doctors told me. They gave these pills to help slow it down, for now." She finished telling him, then made a small laugh. Why was she telling him this? She shouldn't. She promised herself that she wouldn't get close to anyone. Aya continued. "You know what the funny thing is? They gave me 5 months to live. That was 4 months ago. Guess that goes to show that not all doctors really know everything." "Does Luffy or anyone else know?" Usopp asked. "Zoro knows a little of what I've told him. Nami is starting to know something's up. She's very observant. But she hadn't said anything. She told him. Luffy. He knows that I'm sick. But he doesn't know that I'm dying. He can't know. It would devastate him if he found out. You're the only one who fully knows what's wrong with me." The sun began to rise out from the horizon, starting a new day. Aya turned, walking away from Usopp, and started heading towards the kitchen. "I'm going to make some breakfast for everyone. Considering we don't have a cook yet, I'll call when it's ready." Usopp was still standing where he was trying to process everything that Aya had just told him. Promise of not, he was going to help her with whatever he can. If it didn't involve himself dying, of course. He would rather avoid fighting altogether, if possible. But, for Aya, if she was in any danger, he would try. Usopp found himself shocked to think that. Why did he care so much for her? He did see Aya practically as a long-lost sister. The same goes for Luffy. But, Aya also made him feel the same as he did with Kaya. Then, it clicked in his brain and Usopp eventually figured it out. He was in love with her, as well. "This stuff is heavy," Luffy exclaimed, carrying a huge crate up the stairs. Nami and Aya wearing sitting at the top, lying down in chairs, getting a tan on. Nami noticed Luffy as he came up with the crate. Usopp trailed behind him. "What the hell is that?" she questioned as Luffy placed the crate down. Aya lifted up her sunglasses, curious as well. She sat up from the chair. "Whatcha find?" she asked. "Take a look. Found them in the storeroom." Luffy told the two girls as Usopp and him were prying the lid of the crate off. Inside were cannonballs. "It's a crate full of cannonballs," Aya replied. She was getting a bad feeling about this. "Where are you going to do those?" "I figured since we have our own cannon now, we can use it for target practice," Luffy exclaimed, excitedly. "Just leave the cannoning to me," Usopp chimed in. I don't think that's such a good idea." Aya tried to warn them, but Luffy and Usopp had already loaded the cannonball into the cannon and fired it. "Hey, what's so loud down there?" Zoro exclaimed, running out hearing the explosion. Cannon firing practice. Luffy grinned, laughing. The blast sent the ball crashing into a giant rock in the middle of THEC. Awesome. You hit that thing on the first try, he shouted. Whatcha think? I'm pretty awesome when it comes to aiming. Are you impressed, yet? Usopp asked. Yeah, you better believe it, then it's all settled. Suddenly, everyone heard a loud noise that was coming from the front of the ship. Get out here, you filthy pirates. That voice. Zoro murmured softly, recognizing it. Luffy ran down the stairs and out the door to the other side of the ship to see a strange man wrecking everything. He had short dark hair, tattoos on the side of his face, wearing dark sunglasses, a light blue coat, and purple shirt and white pants and boots. Hey, what the hell? Luffy demanded. Who are you? Now you guys think that you can kill my partner. Would you stop wrecking my ship? Luffy shouted. He stretched his arms out and grabbed the man and flung him, breaking the ship's railings as well. Zoro walked out to see what the commotion was. What are you doing here, Johnny? Zoro asked, surprised to see him. Wah, big bro, it's you? Why are you on a pirate ship? What's going on around here? Johnny exclaimed, shocked to see Zoro as well. Hey, relax. Is everything okay? Where's Yosaku? Zoro asked. Usopp and Nami were listening behind the door as the two looked outside from the window, hiding. Aya walked over to them, seeing the stranger as well. Hey look, Zoro knows that guy. Usopp said. What's going on? Nami asked. Maybe we should go out there and find out, instead of hiding in here. Aya replied, moving Usopp and Nami out of the way from the door, opening it. Aya walked outside, standing next to Zoro. Usopp and Nami came out, as they followed behind her. Johnny leads Zoro over to the side of the ship, revealing another boat tied to it. Down below, there was another man who injured with a stomach wound. He was wearing a red headgear, light green coat, black shirt, yellow checkered shorts and boots. He's been sick. Zoro helped him lift the other man onto the ship, lying him down. Everyone came down started to gather around the injured man, concerned and confused. He looked extremely fatigued and weak. His skin was sickly pale, drifting in and out of consciousness, and trails of blood was running down from his mouth. What is it? Zoro asked him. Up until a few days ago, he was healthy and full of life. And now he keeps fainting and getting really pale. I have no idea what's causing it, Johnny explained to them as he started to cry. His teeth have been falling out and his old wound opened up and started bleeding. He just got worse and worse. I didn't know what to do. So I thought maybe if we just rest on a little island, but then a cannonball came flying from this ship. Luffy and Usopp's eyes went wide and mouth dropped in horror. I'm going to say it, Aya smirked. I told you so. We're very sorry, the two of them exclaimed at the same time. Sorry isn't good enough, Johnny said to them, looking down at his friend lying on the floorboard, worried. Isn't that right, partner? Big bro, give it to me straight. Is he gonna die? Zoro had no answer. Nami walked over to the man checking him over. So dumb. Watch it, Zoro warned her. Johnny grabbed Nami's arm, stopping her. Stop it. Whatever you are doing, stop. You're mocking his death. Damn it. Luffy, Usopp, we have some limes in storage. She ordered the two to get. But, they were still standing in shock and horrified, not moving a muscle. What are doing? Bring them here now, she snapped. Luffy and Usopp quickly snapped out of it and the two quickly ran into the kitchen getting the limes and brought them back to Nami. She instructed them to squeeze and pour some into the man's mouth. He's got scurvy, Nami explained. Scurvy? Johnny asked. Nami nodded. If we aren't too late, he'll be just fine in a few days, she told them. Really, big sis? Really? Thank you, Johnny shouted, happily. Please don't call me that. It sounds so dumb. Nami pushed him off of her. I'm not a magician. This used to be a helpless disease that plagued sailors. They just didn't know how to deal with it back then. This is caused by a simple deficiency of plant-derived nutrients. Like vitamin C back in the old days, they could carry fresh fruits and vegetables because they couldn't store them. We know better now. You're smart. You're like a doctor, Luffy smiled. You guys are morons. Every sailor should know about scurvy. Nami scolded him. Suddenly, the man spat out the limes that were shoved into his mouth by Luffy and Usopp. He quickly sat up. Everyone stared at him in shock. Johnny and his partner began cheerfully cheering and dancing around as if nothing ever happened. "You can't get healed that quickly," Nami shouted. "All is to introduce ourselves. My name is Johnny." He introduced himself. The man standing next to him introduced himself as well. "And I'm Yosaku. Together we are the baddest pirate bounty hunter duo in the world. Big bro Zoro used to be one of us." Johnny smiled. "Proud to make your acquaintance," Yosaku added in. "Small world, never thought I'd see you guys again." Zoro smirked, walking over to the two. "Well, if you think you're surprised. We never imagined that the great pirate hunter Zoro would become a pirate himself," Yosaku finished. "Tell me about it." Zoro chuckled. Suddenly, Yosaku fainted and fell, collapsing on the floor. Hey, partner," Johnny exclaimed. Zoro helped Johnny carry Yosaku into the infirmary, placing in the bed to rest. Soon, nighttime fell in the sky and everyone gathered in the kitchen, eating some dinner. Nami was writing at the table. "Let this be a lesson to you. Yeah, this is the kind of trouble you run into when you choose the life at sea." Zoro agreed. "Which means while we're at sea, we really gotta think about of his to the right amount of nutrients, with very little food," Usopp added in. "It's absolutely necessary that someone on this ship knows how to do that," Aya said in agreement as well. "Necessary." Luffy nodded. "Right? The ship needs a cook. Let's go find us a cook." "I'm in. Good idea. We'll have yummy food even while we're out at sea," Usopp replied. "That's right, you got it," Luffy grinned. "A cook, huh? Well, I know just the place. The food is gonna blow your mind," Johnny told them. "Alright, let's go. Where to?" Luffy asked, excitedly. "Consider yourself warned, this place is close to the Grand Line and I've heard a lot of rumors lately that a certain hawk-eyed man is looking for us there." Aya saw that Zoro gripped his sword tightly. He had an anticipated look in his eyes. Johnny warned as he explained to them. "Set a course north-northeast." The sun shined high the sky as the Mary sailed in the waters heading towards the destination until it finally arrived. Up ahead, everyone spotted a large ship that looked like a BTHE middle of the ocean. It had a giant fish head at the front. "There she is. The sea restaurant," Johnny said. "Barati." "Wow, it's a big fish." Luffy stared in awe. "How lovely," Nami agreed. "This is the coolest place ever," Usopp exclaimed. "Not bad." Aya murmured, intrigued as well. "Just like I told you, right?" Johnny asked. Yosaku came out as he peeked his head out from the infirmary. He had gotten some strength back after a good night's rest. Aya noticed him. "Well, look who's up," she smiled. "Glad to see that you're better." Yosaku blushed, but before he could say anything, everyone heard a loud horn blasted out. "What, a marine ship? All the way out here?" Yosaku exclaimed. The ship up alongside the Mary, slowing down. Cannons were aimed and ready to fire at them. Hey Luffy, they aren't not going to start firing at us, are they?" Usopp asked, nervously. "Just my luck, of course the Marines would show up." Zoro tsked. "But, how did that ship?" Aya wondered as she murmured to herself. Johnny, quietly, began sneak away behind her and Nami heading towards Yosaku. Everyone was a man walk over looking down at them from the side of the marine ship. "I am Iron Fist Full Body, but you can just call me sir." "You there, who is the captain? Identify yourself," he announced himself. "My name is Luffy," Luffy announced himself. "My name is Usopp." "Got it," he told them. "We only made our flag the day before yesterday," Luffy started to explain. "That's right, Marine, and I drew it," Usopp added in. "You did, is that so?" the Marine murmured in thought until he spotted Yosaku and Johnny hiding. "Hey, you two, I've seen you before, you're that bounty hunter duo that goes after the small fish. So you've finally been caught by pirates." "Yeah, well. Actually Johnny stammered, scared. "Well, that's a laugh." Full Body laughed, until he noticed Aya. "Hey, they're cutie. Why don't you ditch these losers and come grab a bite with me?" Aya growled, glaring at him. "Sorry, I don't like guys with big heads like yours." She insulted him. The Marine scolded angrily at Aya, glaring at her. Zoro chuckled. Then, a woman wearing a red dress, walked up to Full Body wrapping her arm around his. "Hey, come on baby, let's get going," she told him. "Sure." He and the woman started walking away. Hey, wait a minute. You think small-type bounty hunters would go after these guys? Johnny called out, pulling out some wanted posters of pirates, throwing them in the air. But Full Body ignored him. Nami looked down at the posters lying on the deck. She froze when she saw a man that looked like a shark on a poster. Now let's go to that restaurant. The Marine ordered a soldier. They're an eyesore, sink him. Sir, the soldier saluted. I can't believe they ignored us, Johnny said, angrily. Next time we see him, he better have a little more respect for us, Yosaku replied. What are these? Nami asked, picking up the poster with the shark man on it. Well, those are all wanted pirates, big sis Nami, Johnny told her. In other words, if we defeat them, we get the reward money. Pretty lucrative business, huh? But sis, Johnny stopped him, knowing that Nami didn't like being called that. Hey you guys, look! They're pointing that cannon right at us, Usopp exclaimed. The cannon fired. Leave it to me. Luffy smiled. Gum gum. He quickly grabbed the mast and figurehead, catching the cannonball with his body. Slingshot. Luffy's hand slipped from the Mary's figurehead and accidentally released the cannonball, firing it directly at the restaurant. The cannonball exploded as it hit the roof. An old man was standing in his room where the cannonball exploded in, and collapsed onto the floor, unconscious. Two chefs ran into his room, worried, after hearing the explosion. Sir, are you all right? One of them asked. Yes sir? Another one said. Head chef Zeph, are you okay? Full Body and his girlfriend sailed in a dingy heading toward the restaurant. I wonder what that was. I hope our reservation is okay, the Marine murmured. The old theft was now awake and sitting on his bed as several other chefs were in the room with him. Head chef, are you sure that you're okay? One of them asked. No, nothing is okay, the old man replied, stomping his peg leg in anger. The chefs cringed. The old man grabbed his hat, putting it on. Never mind, just get back to the restaurant already. But, sir, aren't you? I mean, the chef stammered. You maggots, do you want to see me angry? Their boss shouted. The three chefs cringed, fearfully, at his voice. Two chefs walked in, dragging Luffy, who was pouting. This was not what he had planned. He wanted to apologize for the accident but instead got himself caught. This is the guy, he's the one responsible for this, he told the head chef. Luffy turned his head and noticed the old man sitting on the bed right in front of him, glaring down angrily at him. Sir, I'm very sorry. Luffy started to speak until he noticed the old chef's right leg was missing, wearing a peg leg instead. Luffy's eyes grew wide in horror as he stared in shock. He blew his leg off. You're leeg, he exclaimed. Idiot. The old chef kicked Luffy right in the face. Luffy groaned, holding it. Don't worry, you didn't do this to my leg. Luffy sighed in relief. I see, good to know. I'm all banged up. The medical fees and repair charges to the ship are going to cost dearly, the old man told the Straw Hat captain. I won't ask you to cut me any slack, Luffy replied. Oh, the chef raised an eyebrow in surprise. I'm flat broke, Luffy grinned widely. Well, you're pretty direct, huh? The chef asked, amused. If you don't have money, then you have no choice but to work. Fine, I want to make it right, Luffy quickly told him. Then you'll work unpaid for a whole year, Zeph told him. Right, I'll work unpaid for a whole year. Luffy smiled and nodded before realizing what he meant. A year? Did you just say a whole year? What's taking Luffy so long? Zoro pondered. They'll probably make him work without pay for a whole month, Usopp said. He should have just said that it was the Marine's fault, instead of being so freaking honest, Nami replied. Aya sighed. Zoro noticed Aya climbing into a spare dinghy. Where are you going? Well, someone's going to have to go fish that idiot out of there, she told them. If I'm not back in 5 minutes, come and bail us out. Full Body walked into the restaurant with his girl. The customers stared at them as the two headed towards a table. A young blonde-haired man, smoking a cigarette, who was wearing a black suit and tie and blue shirt, walked over to them, carrying a wine bottle in his hand. He poured the two their wine into their glasses. Everybody in here is looking at you, the woman said. No, you're wrong, they're all admiring you. Full Body told her. The two sipped their wine, drinking it. Full Body turned his head towards the blonde-haired chef standing to the side of their table. This wine is so good. It has a sweet aroma to it. It is from the city of Miko of the Northland. Is it Eithersburgerstein? He smirked, smugly. Tell me, waiter, am I right? Not even close. The blonde chef set the wine bottle down on the table. He gripped the marine's hand, tightly, placing a spoon in it. Eat up. This dish is best when hot. Full body's smirk fell from his face, staring at him in shock. The man walked away from their table, before stopping, turning his head. And sir, my name is Sanji. I'm the sous chef. All the waiters ran as of yesterday. He remarked and left. Everyone made small chuckles in the entire room. Do you know a lot about wine? Full body's girlfriend laughed as well. I guess not. It seems that my sense of taste isn't worth it. He muttered bitterly under his breath. He was seething in anger. What's going on? I'm sure I've asked the owner about that particular wine when I made this reservation. Back in the old chef's room, Luffy was still trying to negotiate with him on a deal. I can on, Luffy told him. Yeah, right? A week? Get real, the chef scoffed. Fine then, 2 weeks. Luffy offered. Hey, you wrecked my restaurant and seriously injured the head chef. That's a serious offense. Zeph retorted, whacking Luffy on his head with his tall chef's hat. You can't just settle that with only 1 or 2 weeks of unpaid work. It's ridiculous. Fine, you win, 3 weeks. Luffy argued, holding up 3 fingers. Zeph spun around and kicked Luffy's hand, then kicked him, knocking him down on the floor. You have 1 year, that is the deal, Zeph said. No deal, I've waited 10 long years to become a pirate. So, I'm not gonna waste another year stuck at this restaurant. Listen, I'm gonna get you to let me off with the hook in a week. That's my decision, Luffy answered. If you value your time so much, I'll tell you what you can do to settle your debt quickly, you runt. The old man told him as he walked over to Luffy. He slammed his peg leg down on his. It'll cost you a leg, my boy. He held a saw in his hands. That's pricey. Luffy gulped. Good, I've got your attention. Full body was sulking quietly as he ate his soul with his girlfriend. Then he spotted a small bug skittering on the floor. He smirked and stomped on it. Waiter, hey, get over here. He shouted at Sanji, calling him over as he was assisting another customer. Sanji walked over to him. I believe I've already told you. I'm not a waiter, he said, then turned his head towards Full Body's girlfriend, ignoring him. What an irresistible beauty you are. He flirted, taking her hand. My lady, would you care to join me elsewhere for a glass of wine? Full Body slammed his hand on the table. Hey, what is this? Is bug soup on the menu today, or did you make this just for me? He demanded, pointing at his soup. There was a dead bug swimming in it. Bug soup? Sanji questioned. That's right. What's this bug doing there? Waiter, Full Body smirked. This is going to ruin the restaurant's reputation. Sorry, sir, don't know. Really? Looks like he's floating? Then again, it kind of looks like he's drowning, but it's hard to say for sure. Sanji joked, smirking. Several people snickered as his response, including Full Body's girlfriend. Don't you mess with me, waiter, Full Body roared angrily. He slammed his fist into the table, breaking it in half. The plates and glass shattered on the floor, making a mess. You could have eaten it if you would just taken the bug out. It would have been wonderful. It took 3 full days of hard cooking to prepare that soup for you, and you've wasted it, Sanji said, angrily. Can't you see that you're biting off more than you can chew? Full Body shouted. He stepped on Sanji's hand. A dark shadow appeared on Sanji's face. I'm the customer here, do you hear? I'm the one paying you. Stop it, Full Body. His girlfriend tried to pull him away. He shoved her away, knocking her down. Shut up. Can your money truly satisfy your hunger? Sanji asked. What do you mean? Full Body sputtered. I'm asking, can it satisfy your hunger? Sanji asked again with a dark look in his eyes. In Zeph's room, Luffy and him were fighting and arguing still, mostly him kicking Luffy around. This is getting old. You're never going to make it if you don't just give in sometimes, he replied. It's still no, Luffy shouted, panting. No respect, Zeph scoffed. Blood dropped on the floor as everyone stared in shock and horror. A couple chefs were watching from the stairs. Aya walked in through the doors, seeing everyone staring at the 2 men silently. Sanji had kicked Full Body right on the side of his face, breaking his nose. Sanji held him up into the air, his feet dangling above the floor. It's Sanji, One of them said, nervously. What's going on? Aya wondered to herself. Don't ever waste food around me again, Sanji said, darkly. At sea, if you ever provoke your cook you're signing your own death warrant, remember that. Hello, Aya called out. Everyone turned their heads towards her, now noticing her by the front entrance. Table for one, please, she smiled. Sure, right this way, miss. A chef quickly walked over to her, taking Aya to a table. Can I get you anything? Just some water, that would be nice please, Aya told him. Sanji stood from where he was, in silence, still holding full body with his hand. His cigarette almost dropped from his mouth, staring at her. Sanji immediately released full body, dropping the marine on the floor. Just as Aya blinked, she saw Sanji right at her table. Tell me miss, are you new around here? I would have recognized a radiant breathtaking beauty like you before, Sanji asked her, taking her hand, with hearts in his eyes. Aya stared up at him, a little taken back by the flirty advance and blushed a little. She felt her heart began to beat faster, fluttering. Aya pulled her hand away from his, smiling uncomfortably. We just sailed in. I'm just here for my brother, before he can do anything else stupid, she told him. The chef came back and placed a glass of water on the table in front of her, then walked away to take other people's orders. He's somewhere around here. Suddenly, Luffy and Zeph crashed through from the floor above right in the middle of the room. Several chefs ran over to the old man. Luffy coughed, sitting up, rubbing his head. Everyone stared in shock at the two. Let me guess, your brother? Sanji asked. Yes, unfortunately. He's my twin, Aya answered him. I don't really see the resemblance, Sanji replied, looking back at her. Aya stared at the blonde-haired chef in shock. All of her life she was always told of how Luffy and her were identical. You would be the first to say that, she replied. Luffy noticed Aya sitting at the table, drinking her water. Aya! What the hell? He shouted. What are you doing here? I'm just enjoying the show, Aya smirked. You jerk, Luffy. Wait, you know this little punk. Zeph stood up, brushing himself off. He's my brother, Aya told the old man. Well, if he's your brother, he said. Then you're going to have to work with him to pay for the damages that he caused. No, thanks, Aya answered, taking another sip of water. Excuse me? The old man raised his eye. His gaze drifted lower, seeing the coin necklace around Aya's neck. His eyes widened a little in surprise, in recognition, seeing it. He still had a stern expression on his face. I said no thanks, Aya told him. Whatever he did, that's his own fault. He has to learn from his own mistakes, otherwise he's not going to learn anything from it. You're right, the head chef remarked. Let's make it 2 years. What? Luffy screeched, loudly. He can do it in 3, Aya added. 4, Zeph added. FIV, Aya, Luffy shouted, angrily. Shut up. Another chef came out from the kitchen to see what the commotion was. He saw full body on the floor, his face all bloodied up. Damn it, not again, Sanji. He shouted, annoyed. What are you doing to our customer? Can't you see he's a marine lieutenant? You're a terrible cook, Sanji replied. What makes you think that you can talk to me like that, Patty? A crappy cook like you is calling me bad? Patty frowned. Restaurants can't exist without their customers. They're our lifeblood, so we don't want to hurt them the way you seem to keep doing. What were you thinking? But he deserved it. He didn't treat the food or me with respect, Sanji said. And he insulted all of our cooks. So I simply taught him a lesson. What's going on? A fight? I had turned around to see Zoro, Nami and Usopp standing at the front door. Hey guys, she called them over. What do you think you are doing? Zoro asked. Just enjoying the entertainment, I had told him. Full body was shaking in rage. You will regret this, all of you, he shouted. No restaurant should treat their customers like this. I'll shut you down. Do you understand me? I will shut you down. This entire place? This whole restaurant is finished? Do you hear me? Then maybe I should finish you off now, Sanji said, and stepped towards him. Full body flinched, fearfully, backing away from him. 2 chefs rushed over and grabbed Sanji, stopping him. Sous chef, Sanji, one of them shouted. It's arrogant assholes like you who think they're such big shots who can push everyone around really piss me off, Sanji shouted at the marine. Stop, Sanji. The other chef told him, trying to hold Sanji back. You can't keep doing this. You're not such a big shot now, are ya? Sanji taunted at full body, trying to shake the chefs off of him. Chef Zeph stepped towards the blonde chef. Sanji, enough. I told you not to lose your temper again. Put a cork in it, old man, Sanji growled. Oh, now you're ordering me around. Just who do you think you're talking to? Zeph shouted, still with an stern look on his face unfazed. Do you want to sink my restaurant to the bottom of the sea? You punk, Sanji huffed, but he stopped his advance towards the marine. Full body made a smug smirk, but then Zeph turned his attention towards him. And you, get your ass out of my restaurant, he shouted, kicking the marine right on the side of his face. Full body fall back in shock with a disbelief look on his face. What kind of restaurant is this? Patty stepped over towards Sanji. How could you forget our motto, that the customers are kings? He scolded him. The only kings around here are the ones who can stomach the slop that you call food, Sanji retorted, making Patty scowl. That's it. If you two want to fight, take it to the kitchen. You understand me? Chef Zeph demanded. Suddenly, a marine soldier rushed in from the front entrance. Lieutenant Full Body, he exclaimed, urgently. We have a problem, Pirate Krieg's henchmen attacked us and vanished. What? The marine lieutenant asked, shocked. We've already lost 7 men, the soldier said. Impossible. When we picked him up 3 days ago, he was on the verge to starving to death. We haven't fed him anything since then. Where did he get the strength? Full Body questioned. The customers and some of the chefs were starting to panic. Krieg pirates? One exclaimed, nervously. They're the ones who have been said to be the most fearsome pirates in the East Blue, another exclaimed. I'm really sorry, sir. Suddenly, a loud gunshot was heard. Everyone watched in shock as the soldier fell. As he was shot from behind, he collapsed onto the floor dead. A man with short black hair, wearing a navy blue and gray headband, gray shirt with red dragon designs on it, and gray pants. He looked weak, tired, and exhausted and looked like he could collapse at any minute. Seems we have another customer, Patty remarked. He better cause any more trouble in my restaurant. Chef Zeph replied, watching the newcomer carefully as he walked into the restaurant. So, he's a pirate, huh? Luffy murmured. The pirate took a seat at a table. I don't care what it is, he said. Just bring me something to eat. This is a restaurant, isn't it? Hello and welcome, you damn crook. Patty smirked as he approached the man. A few customers cringed in fear, thinking he going to get angry and shoot the chef and shoot up and rampage the place. I'm only going to say this one more time. Bring me something to eat and make it quick, the man stared again. That cook going to get us all killed, Full Body muttered under his breath. Of course, right away, Patty said, still smirking. But if I may be so bold to inquire, how do you intend to pay for your meal? Will this be enough? The pirate now pulled a gun loaded aiming at Patty's head. So I take it you have no money then? Patty slammed his fists down, knocking the pirate out of his chair, breaking it to pieces. That dumbass Patty broke another chair, Zeph muttered, annoyed. Sorry, pirate, but our policy is to only serve paying customers, the chef said. If you can't pay up, you can't eat. I couldn't watch this anymore. She looked over to Sanji and motioned for him to come over. He did so with no hesitation, no questions asked, happy to oblige. Aya whispered in his ear. Sanji, isn't it? Can you make him something? She said low enough for no one else to hear. I'll pay for how much it is. Just get him something to eat. I hate seeing people who are starving. Sanji gasped and his eyes went wide. He stepped back from her, staring at her in surprise. Chef Zeph noticed Sanji's reaction, silently watching the two, but said not a word. He hummed to himself, thinking. There was something about this girl, something that he liked. Sanji nodded and ran off towards the kitchen. Oh, I can hear your stomach grumbling from here, you filthy pirate. Patty smirked as he continued to taunt the downed pirate. That was a fart, you bastard, the man remarked and glared up at him. He tried to get up but he was weak to do so. Just get me something to eat, now. We're not giving you anything, so beat it, Patty roared in anger, then began to kick and beat the man on the floor. Some customers were cheering the chef on. Just lay off the poor guy, Aya called out. What did you say, you bit? Patty turned around to face her only to back up in shock, see Aya right at his face. She had a dark look in her eyes. It's already paid for. What? The chef questioned, surprised. The man looked up at Aya, surprised, as well. I'm paying for his meal. Sanji came out of the kitchen carrying a plate with rice and shrimp that he made. How are you paying for this? Nami asked Aya, as she sneaked up to her and whispered into her ear. I put it on your tab. She told her, smiled. You what? Nami squawked. She started to shake her as she grabbed Aya by her shirt. You're ruining me. Pirate, Aya smirked, shrugging her shoulders. Nami gave her a surprised look, then frowned, releasing her, and stepped back. While everyone was distracted, Full Body was crawling away as he sneaked out the front door. I can't take it anymore. All of these cooks are insane. I've got to get out of here. I don't want anything to do with this place ever again, he muttered. I don't want your help, the pirate shouted. Sanji placed the plate full of food right ditty in front of his face. Here you go, he ignored him. Take this stuff away now. Stop your whining and eat it already, Sanji told him. To me, if anyone's hungry, they're a customer, pirate or not. I've been in your situation before. A fight for survival. The seas can be a cruel place. Aya turned her head towards Sanji with a surprised look. The pirate looked at the two, then at Aya. What would you help me? He questioned. It's my dream, Aya smiled. I'm going to be queen one day. And a queen have to look after her people, pirate or not. She hinted and winked. Jin's eyes widened in surprise, realizing what she meant. She wants to be the... Then he froze when he saw the coin necklace hanging down from Aya's neck. Eat up, Aya told him, shoving the plate towards him. Tears began to run down Jin's cheeks. I'm sorry, he began shoving and shoveling spoonfuls of food into his mouth as he did. I'm sorry. Thank you so much. I thought that it was over. I truly thought I was going to die. He cried. It's delicious. I've never eaten something this good before. Of course it is, Sanji smiled. Luffy smiled as well, watching. He found his cook. Alright, people, show's over, get back to work, Chef Zeph told the chefs. He grabbed Luffy before you walk off, dragging him away by his shirt. You as well, chore boy. You still have debt to settle. Guys, help me out here. Luffy looked over at Zoro, Nami, Hello and Aya for some help. We'll take this table here, Nami said, sitting down. Usopp and Zoro sat down at the table as well, each sitting on opposite sides from Aya. Yeah, I'm starving, Zoro smiled. I'm ready to show down and have some booze. You traitors! Luffy shouted angrily as two chefs dragged him away into the kitchen. Everyone went back to talking and eating their food. As Chef Zeph was starting to walk away, Aya heard a soft low hum. Nami, Zoro and Usopp heard it as well. Aya looked down and saw it was her necklace making that noise. What's that noise? Usopp asked. Don't know, Zoro shrugged. Nami looked over at Aya, seeing her playing with her necklace with her fingers. It's coming from your necklace, isn't it? Nami asked. Zoro and Usopp looked over at the two girls, listening and watching as well. The humming, indeed, was coming from Aya's necklace. You didn't tell us that it was a magic treasure, Nami replied. I wonder how much it would probably sell for. It's not for sale, Aya barked. I'm joking, Nami replied. No need to get worked up. Still, I wonder why it did that, Zoro questioned. It's never done that before, right? Yeah, Aya nodded. She frowned, in confusion. It had never done that before. Why did it hum around that old man? Sanji was standing outside, smoking his cigarette, looking at the sea. Hey Mr. Cook. Why don't you leave the boat and join my crew? Luffy called out to him. He turned around to see the straw hat on top of the roof of the restaurant. I could use someone like you on my pirate ship. Sanji's eyes widened in surprise. These guys are pirates? A blush came to his cheeks when Aya appeared in his thoughts. She certainly was a beauty to behold. Oh, to sail the seas with her. He thought long fully, now grinning ear to ear. But, he can't. Sanji shook the thought from his mind. Is that why you did a crazy thing like shoot a cannonball into the restaurant? That was an accident, Luffy told him. It was self-defense turned into a stray shot. A stray shot? Sanji laughed. In any case, you really don't want to anything stupid to this place. The owner used to be a cook in a famous pirate fleet. So the old man used to be a pirate? Luffy asked. This restaurant is everything to the crazy old geezer. It's the only treasure he'll need for the rest of his life, Sanji explained. He'll do anything to protect it. On top of which, All of the cooks who joined him out of respect and admiration are just as hot-headed as any pirate. Which helps, as any pirate are always coming and going in and out of this place. Yeah, I noticed that, Luffy replied. This is a really wild restaurant, huh? So true. This is how it is every day. It's gotten so bad that the customers coming here just to watch the fighting between the cooks and pirates. Every day it's been a new pirate and a new rampage. It wasn't long until all of the waiters got scared and bailed. Well, that makes sense, Luffy realized. So that's why the old man wanted me to work for him for a year. He looked at Sanji. So, are you joined my pirate crew or what? I'm sorry but I can't. There's a reason that I have to work here in the restaurant so I can't just walk away from it, he said to Luffy. No way. I don't accept, Luffy refused. What? Sanji exclaimed in disbelief. You don't accept? It's very simple, I refuse to accept your refusal, he told Sanji. You're a good cook and I need one. So it's obvious these should be pirates together. Listen to what I'm saying, I can't leave here alright, Sanji shouted. What's your reason for staying? Luffy asked. I don't have to tell you anything, Sanji shouted. But you just said to listen to you, Luffy told him confused. Sanji twitched. He was getting annoyed. I told you was no and that's all you need to hear from me. Now, take your pirate ship and find your cook someplace else before I cut you up, Straw Hat. You listen to me, you jerk. No one makes fun of my Straw Hat unless they're ready for a beating, Luffy shouted angrily back at him. He pressed his face up close to the cooks, who did the same, both glaring at each other ready for a fight. Sorry to interrupt, what is it? Luffy and Sanji both shouted at the same time. They turned their heads to Jin standing by the door and he approached them. My name is Jin and I'm a new member of Don Krieg's pirate fleet, he told them. And you say that you are a pirate yourself. What is it that you seek? Oh, the One Piece. Luffy smiled. Soon, we're gonna sail the Grand Line to find it. Well, you won't last long. If you don't have a cook yet, your crew can't be all that big, Jin told him. Nope, he's only the 6th member, Luffy replied. I told you that I'm not going, Sanji exclaimed. You seem like a nice kid so let me give you some friendly advice, Jin spoke. The Grand Line is a place that you want to avoid. You're so young there's no need to rush into anything. Remember, the Grand Line is one small part of the entire ocean. If you want to be a real pirate, there are plenty of other places out here in the seas explore. Why don't you just tell me what to avoid in the Grand Line now? Luffy asked. Jin had a scared look in his eyes. I can't. I don't know anything. I don't understand it, it's a fearsome place. For being a member of the Don Krieg pirates, I'm a pretty weak. Luffy and Sanji stared at him before the pirate hopped into a small boat. I think it's about time for me to go. Thanks for the warning, but I'm still going to the Grand Line, Luffy told him. I know. Do whatever you want. I'm just a stranger and I can't stop you from going anywhere you want to go. Thin smiled. I just wanted to give you a fair warning. Tell that girl thanks as well for me, will you? Sure thing. Luffy smiled back, then Jin turned to Sanji. And to you, Chef, thank you for everything. You saved my life and knows you for that, he said, gratefully. Your cooking skill is the best that I've ever seen. I hope to come by again sometime. I'll have a seat ready for you. Sanji smiled. Chore boy, get up here right now. Everyone looked up at the roof to see Zeph staring down at them. Boss Zeph. Luffy called out. You're hard to find, the old chef replied. Jin, go. Sanji told the pirate. Try not to get caught again, ya hear? Thank you again, Chef Sanji. I will never forget your kindness. Jin cried out as he sailed away leaving the restaurant. Sanji, chore boy, get back to work already, Chef Zeph barked. Luffy was sitting in the kitchen watching the other chefs as they cooked and took the customers' orders. A lot were going to table 3 for some reason. Don't just sit there picking your nose, get up and go wash the dishes or something, right now, Patty shouted at him. Luffy listened he was washing the dishes. As he did, he was breaking them as well. Has anyone seen Sanji? One chef asked. Think I saw him hitting on a customer, another one said. Again, I wish boss chef would get rid of him. It's bad enough he's the sous chef, but he's never in the kitchen doing his job. I think we're stuck with him, another one said. He's been in the kitchen longer than any of us. Yeah, but even so I just don't get it, one chef said. Why does he stay here when always fighting? I think he wants to be the head chef, Patty replied. Then everyone heard loud crashing and turned their heads to see Luffy looking at them, but also breaking the plates as well as he was washing them. Hey, you're breaking all of the plates, Patty exclaimed. Luffy looked down into the sink seeing the broken plates. Aw, man, I didn't even notice, you idiot. Stop screwing around and clean up your mess, Patty told him, handing Luffy a broom. He took it from him. That I can do. Luffy walked past a plate with food on it and grabbed a piece of meat from it, eating it. Don't eat the customer's food, one chef shouted angrily. What's wrong with you? Get out of our kitchen. Why don't we have you take orders in the dining room? Patty told Luffy as he dragged him by his head out of the kitchen. Just ask the customers what they want to eat. Is that simple enough? This boring. I wonder if Kobe got tired of doing all of this work, Luffy murmured as he walked down the spiral stairs. Quarry boy, Luffy heard call out to him. He turned his head to the group at the table that had loads of food on it. What are you doing? Luffy exclaimed, running down the stairs towards their table. We heard that you had to work here for a whole year, Usopp said. Is it okay if we redraw the flag for our ship? Zoro asked. I don't mind Aya taking the role as captain. This is mutiny, Luffy shouted. It's not my fault you got your dumbass into this situation, she told him. Luffy shot her a look before looking down at the table filled with food. He could feel his stomach growling. Are you eating all of this food without me? Luffy pouted. How do you think I feel? I'm not happy about this either. Nami cried a little. My money. What kind of crew are you? How could you do this to me? Luffy shouted. Hold on, I think that's our business, isn't that right? Zoro laughed. Luffy picked his nose and flicked a booger into Zoro's glass of water. Usopp and Nami snickered, as well as Aya. Enjoy. You know, I have to say the food here really is quite delicious. Zoro smiled, picking up the glass, being it up to his mouth. I feel bad for you. He grabbed Luffy, shoving the glass of water into his mouth, making him drink it instead. Nami, Usopp and Aya busted out laughing, very loud, causing a ruckus. I can't believe you did that. Luffy gagged. Yeah, well, I can't believe you did that, Zoro remarked. Sanji was at another table pouring a glass to a woman until he heard the crew. Aren't they quaint? I wonder if that's the rest of his crew. His eyes stopped at Aya. As Aya stopped laughing, she looked up and saw, surprised, to a red rose right in front of her face, with Sanji holding it out to her. Aya felt her heart beat a little faster. He was close, way too close. She scooted back in her chair a little. You again? She replied, annoyed. Oh dear ocean, thank you for this treasure you have shared from your depths. Oh yes, my love, I can't bear this hardship of loving you from afar. It is too difficult. I am not prepared to sail to the ends of the earth as a pirate if it means someone of your rare beauty would be by my side, to be together sailing the seas. But, how tragic, a great obstacle blocks our way. Nami laughed. Zoro and Usopp were glaring daggers at Sanji as he continued to flirt with Aya. Seems like you have a crush, she teased. Aya growled, shooting Nami a dirty glare. And what that obstacle would be? Aya asked. And that obstacle would be me, right, Sanji? Sanji heard Chef Zeph said behind him. Stupid geezer, he huffed under his breath. This is an opportunity you don't want to pass up. Why not join their crew and become a pirate? I have no need to keep you here in my restaurant, the old chef told him. Not too far from the restaurant, Jin had stopped on an island and boarded a huge ship. He was standing in front of a large, bulky, and very tall man. He had purple hair, wearing bandages on his head, a dark furry coat, and gloves. A yellow shirt with spirals and crescent moons on it, and purple pants. His captain, Don Krieg. I see this cook saved your life and you were able to return here to us, he asked Jin. Is that what you were saying, Jin? Yes, but you see, I have no idea that the main ship was in this condition, Don Krieg, the pirate told his captain. So, what now? Krieg asked. Now, I'll take you to the sea restaurant for a treat, Jin smirked. Tell me about this girl, who helped you as well, Krieg asked. Jin's smirk fell from his face when he mentioned of Aya. You said that she had a pirate necklace? Yes, it was a coin, Jin told him. Why are you interested about that? She has one of the keys to getting into One Piece, Krieg laughed, menacingly. I will have it. Hey listen, pal. I'm the sous chef in this place, Sanji said. What do you mean you don't need me anymore? You fight with customers all time. You flirt with every woman and drool all over them who walks through here. You can't even cook a decent meal, the old chef explained. You're worthless to me. Staying in this restaurant, that's what I mean. So, Sanji replied. He gritted his teeth, embarrassed, as he saw some of the cooks began snickering at him above the stairs. Oh, and let's not forget how the other cooks avoid you like you were poison, Chef Zeph added. So just run off and be a pirate whatever. Forget about this restaurant. That's how it is, Sanji muttered. You shoot out from the mouth and expect that I'm just going to take it, old man. I can blow off everything that you said, but I won't let you trash talk my cooking. I'm staying here as a sous chef and that's final. Do you hear me? He shouted, grabbing Zeph, lifting him up to his face. What do you think you're doing? Grabbing your boss by the collar. Zeph berated at him. You ingrate. He grabbed Sanji and tossed him. Zoro, Nami, Usopp, and Aya grabbed the plates just in time before Sanji crashed into the table, breaking it in half. Enough with the games. You can try to kick me out, but I'm staying here to stay. I'm not going anywhere, old man, Sanji stated. Not until you're dead and gone. Dead, ha. I still got 100 years left of kicking your ass left in me, Zeph remarked, walking away. He's always got to have the last word, Sanji growled, annoyed. See, he's cool. Now you can become a pirate, Luffy replied, happily. Shut up, Sanji shouted. He turned his attention back towards the crew's table. He placed down another table and set a cup down in front of Aya that was filled with different varieties of fruits, pouring her a drink as well. Aya's mouth dropped a little when she saw her favorite, strawberries. Her eyes began to sparkle with joy. My apologies, I hope I can make this up to you with this delightful fruit, Macedonia. My queen. Sanji smiled. Usopp stared at the Sanji, with an angry look, not liking the attention the Sanji was giving to Aya, or the way he was staring at her. Zoro looked like he wanted to cut the chef to pieces, keeping a hand on one of his sword's hilt, ready to pull it out at any moment. Thanks. Aya blushed, and picked up a spoon and started to dig in. Sanji placed another glass filled with fruit in front of Nami, pouring a drink for her as well. And you too, my princess. Oh, you're too kind. It looks wonderful, Nami exclaimed, happily, smiling back. Usopp growled and stood up, stepping over to the blonde chef. Hey, don't forget about us, Mr. Casanova, he shouted. We better get some kind of apology too. Sanji held a small cup of watered-down tea in front of the sniper. This tea should be more than adequate for you, the chef replied. In fact, you should be thanking me. What? You want to fight? You're gonna regret this, Usopp shouted, then looked over towards the swordsman for some backup. Take him out, Zoro. You take him out, Zoro replied to him, taking a sip from his tea. Please, don't fight over me, Nami said, stepping in between Usopp and Sanji. Of course, my dear, Sanji replied. Who said it was about you? Usopp exclaimed, glaring at Nami, who ignored him. She motioned Sanji to come a little closer. I wanted to tell you, she started. What is it, dear? Sanji asked. All of the food here is delicious, but it's a little too expensive for me, Nami told him. Relax, for you two ladies, it's free, Sanji grinned. Oh, thank you, Nami said, happily, hugging the chef. Aya stared at him with an uncertain and confused look. She thanked him as well. She was still uncomfortable of all of the attention that Sanji was giving her. She just wasn't used to it. What is this guy's deal? But you guys still gotta pay though, Sanji said, turning his attention back to Zoro and Usopp. How very generous of you. Zoro deadpanned. Usopp's mouth dropped in shock. Luffy was sitting in the chair laughing. Sanji kicked him in the head. The blunt force stretched the Straw Hat Captain's head. What are you sitting around for? Sanji shouted, dragging Luffy away from the group. You're not here to lounge around. We've been sitting around here twiddling out thumbs for 4 days now, Usopp complained. How long do you think we're going to be here, anyway? Who knows, Zoro replied. Luffy said he'll stay a year, but I'm already so bored, the sniper replied. Quit whining, this place is great, Nami said, turning to him. Plus all of the food here is free. Yeah, for you too it is, Zoro remarked. Aya's eyes widened in surprise, noticing the samurai's tone of voice. He sounded a little angry. Luffy walked out from the restaurant, carrying a huge pot. Usopp leaned over the ship. "Hey Luffy." He called out to Luffy. "What are we still doing here? Come on. Let's just get out of here. Just sit tight a little longer. I'm gonna try and make another deal with the owner," Luffy told him. "Well, hurry up," Usopp shouted. Suddenly, the wind began to pick up, blowing in an eerie mist of fog. Everyone saw a ship emerge through it heading towards the restaurant. The ship looked like it had took a beating and was in rough shape. There were holes on some parts of the ship. Part the ship's figurehead was half blasted off. The sails were ripped and torn as well. Everyone inside the restaurant backed away from the windows as they saw the ship pull up to dock. "I told you. I knew those goons would show up," one of the chefs shouted. "Are you gonna get rid of those guys or what? This can't be real. He's got a whole fleet with him. Why would Don Krieg come here to get revenge on just one guy?" Patty shouted. "Doesn't he have anything better to do?" "He's here all right," another chef shouted at him. "Guys, don't panic, but I think that's our cue to leave right now," Usopp said, nervously. "Look at the size of that ship," Nami exclaimed. "What a huge ship. Do you then think Jin came back to repay you not his kindness?" Luffy asked Sanji. "I seriously doubt that's it. There's something else," Sanji said, staring at the ship with unease. "Did they come through a hurricane or something?" "Their ship is a wreck," Luffy said, seeing the damage on the ship. "It doesn't seem like the damage was inflicted by cannons. In fact, it doesn't look man-made at all," Sanji explained. "Then maybe it was a tornado hurricane?" Luffy replied. A dark shadow stepped over the ship's side, staring down at the restaurant. "There he is," Sanji murmured. Jin walked into the restaurant while carrying his captain, supporting him over his shoulder. All of the chefs and customers backed away as the two came in, staring at Jin and Krieg with fearful and cautious looks. "I need food and water," Krieg said, weakly. "We have money. Lots of money. Please, it's been so long I don't even remember the last that I've ate. Please sir, I need food and something to drink. I'm begging you." "This is Krieg?" Luffy questioned, turning his head to the side in thought. "Captain, Don Krieg," Jin shouted. "Please help him, our captain is on the brink of starvation, he could die. He hasn't had a single bite to eat for days. He'll die if he doesn't get food soon." "This is great. I haven't laughed that hard in a long time," Patty smirked. "The great Don Krieg, kneeling before us. We have some money. We're here as customers this time," Jin insisted. "Do you really think that I'm that stupid?" Patty asked, then motioned for a chef. "Get a hold of the Marines right away." "What?" Jin said in disbelief. "He's finally weak enough to be captured. This may never happen, and I'm not going to ruin it by helping him getting his strength back," Patty stated. "He's right. Who knows what he'll do if he gets on his feet again?" one chef exclaimed. "He's done terrible things," another chef shouted. "And as soon as he's up, he'll keep on doing it. I'd say we let him starve," a chef shouted. "RMAL, he'll kill every last person here in this restaurant. He won't get so much as a glass of water from me," another one said. "I won't do anything. I won't do anything," Krieg said, kneeling his head to the floor, pleading. "Once I eat, I promise that I'll leave quietly. So please, be merciful. Please, don't reduce yourself to this. You're better than a common beggar. Please sir. What about your pride?" Jin shouted, looking down at his captain. Sanji walked past Luffy carrying a plate. "I promise, please, I'll take the scraps, I'll take anything, anything," Krieg pleaded. "Boo-hoo for the cruel pirate," Patty remarked. "Hey, step aside Patty," Sanji slammed his foot against the chef's head, knocking him out of the way. Sanji. Everyone in the room stared in disbelief, including Jin. Sanji walked over to the two pirates and placed the plate down in front of Krieg. "Here's something for your captain," Sanji said. "Thank you, Sanji," Krieg thanked him, shoveling the food down his mouth as he ate. "Thank you, thank you." "Fool! You get that food away from him right now," one of the chefs shouted. "Do you realize that he's a cold, heartless killing machine? This is the man most well known from all over the East Blue, the most ruthless of all pirates. It all started back when he pretended to be a Marine. He decided to declare his pirate ambitions. He took command of the Marines' vessel by killing their fleet officer. He would raise the Marine flag undercover, then lay waste to the unsuspecting cities and passing ships there. He would show the white flag before attacking enemy ships. He'll do anything to secure a victory." That guy fights dirty, Luffy murmured to himself, watching Krieg. He also unmatched in physical combat. Do you think he'll just leave us alone? The chef continued to explain. I've got news for you. That's not possible for a bloodthirsty killer like him. He deserves death. As he finished, Krieg placed the plate back down on the floor. A dark smirk appeared as he stood up. Within a flash, Krieg knocked Sanji down and he landed on the floor. Sanji! All of the chefs shouted, including Luffy. This is not what we've agreed on. You gave me your word. I only brought you here because you promised that you wouldn't ruin this place. Or hurt the man who saved us, Jin hissed, turning to his captain. Krieg reached out and grabbed Jin by his shoulder, squeezing it hard, lifting Jin up. Jin screamed in pain. Yeah, that was delicious. I feel so alive again, Krieg replied, dropping Jin. Jin fell onto the floor, grabbing his shoulder in pain. All of the customers ran out of the restaurant screaming in fear. Usopp, Zoro, Aya, and Nami watched from the Mary, seeing them scatter. Hey, you see that? It looks bad, Usopp said. What do you think is going on in there? Don't know, let's go inside and see, Zoro suggested. I agree with you on that, Aya replied. Usopp turned to her with wide eyes. What? Are you serious? He exclaimed. I am. You sound scared, Zoro teased, smirking at him. I am not scared. Usopp sputtered. Zoro turned back towards the ship, Aya as well. So strange, this ship looks almost abandoned. This is a pretty good ship. I'll take it, Krieg said. All of the chefs backed up from him in fear, glaring at him. Sanji sat up on his elbows, sitting up, glaring at Krieg. Bastard. Sanji growled. As you can all see, my ship is a wreck. Naturally I'll need a nice new one, Krieg said. After a few small chores, every one of you will be leaving this ship. Don Krieg, you promised, please, Jin said, looking up at him, still in pain. There are about 100 men left aboard my ship. All are weak with hunger and are many seriously wounded. If you value your lives, you will prepare food and water for every last one of them. I've lost too many men to hunger already, Krieg explained. You're telling us to feed all our executioners. Did you realize how stupid that sounds? We refuse? One of the chefs shouted at him. The smirk from Krieg's mouth fell. You refuse? He asked. A dark look appeared in his eyes. I wasn't asking you. Now, make no mistake, you wretched cook. I'm not placing an order, I am giving you one. Do I make myself clear? Don't defy me? Sanji, I'm sorry. I didn't mean for this to happen, Jin said, sorrowfully. You see, look what you brought in this restaurant, you stupid bastard, Patty shouted at Sanji. Sanji stood up and walked past him, ignoring him. Hey, where do you think you're going? Patty shouted. To the kitchen. Looks like I'll be cooking 100 more meals today, Sanji said. Sanji, Patty shouted angrily. Are you crazy? All of the other chefs shouted, shocked as well. Good, hop to it, Krieg smirked. Suddenly, Sanji was stopped by several chefs as they blocked him, pointing their weapons dangerously at him. Tell me the truth, Sanji. Are you his spy or something? One chef questioned him. We can't let you go anywhere near that kitchen, one shouted. We're fed up with you acting insane, another shouted angrily. All right, stop me if you wish, Sanji said, holding up his hands. But, no, there's no secret that Don Krieg is a terrible, ruthless man. If that doesn't matter to you, it doesn't matter. After we feed all of these men, who knows what's going to happen? I am just a simple cook, no more and no less. If someone's going hungry, then it's my duty to feed them. What do you say, is that wrong? Suddenly, Sanji was kicked from behind by Patty and he fell onto the floor. Patty, Sanji growled, looking up at him. Hey, somebody grab him. Patty ordered one of the chefs. You bring free food to the bums I kick out of this place over and over again. And I'm not about to argue over who's right over that particular situation, but this time you're just flat out wrong, Sanji. I can't let you do things like that anymore. We're going to protect this place. Fortunately, we've got numbers on our side. It is Don Krieg, but what can he do against all of us? He walked over to a counter and bent down, opening one of the doors below it, rummaging around for something. At a joint like this, Pirate bags come and go every day. We're fully prepared to serve any kind of customer. Is that? Sanji stared in surprise. Patty pulled out a bazooka shaped like a shrimp, holding it on his shoulder. I really hope you saved some room for dessert, he said, then aimed the weapon directly at Krieg. Because I have a secret recipe that is try to die for, open wide. Here comes the meatball of doom. It fired and headed straight towards Krieg, causing a huge explosion. I might have broken the door. I sure hope that Zeph doesn't yell at me again, Patty said, happily. He might go easy on me for saving the restaurant and all. What are we going to do about all the guys left in Krieg's ship? Sanji asked. Fry 'em. Patty told him. Cover it in batter and cry the entire thing. Are you a chef or a comedian? Everyone's eyes widened in shock. Krieg emerged from the smoke, completely unscathed from the blast. He revealing to be wearing golden armor. Multiple guns emerged from it aiming at everyone. Because your jokes are lame. And that dessert was terrible. The worst I've ever had. So, die. So many guns. Luffy murmured in awe. Krieg unleashed fire on the chefs shooting at them. You cooks should not have defied me. I am by far the world's strongest man, made of solid steel, full steel body armor, impenetrable, and a diamond fist that can pound this world to dust. In addition to the weapons on my body, I have defeated 5,000 pirates. My record is perfect. I've won every single battle that I've ever been in. I am Don. And I'm the only one fit to be called Don. I'm not going to ask again. Where is the girl with the key? Krieg demanded. Key? What's he talking about? Luffy murmured, confused. Look no further, she's right here. Aya called out. Everyone looked over Krieg's shoulder and he turned around to see her standing at the front entrance, leaning against the door on her side. Krieg smirked, turning a rook down at the coin necklace hanging down from her neck. Aya stared back up at him, taking in the captain's tall form. Fee fi fo fum, what beanstalk you fall from? She smirked, taunting him. Aya! Luffy shouted, annoyed. I told you to wait on the ship with the others. And miss out on the action? Aya told him. I can't let you have all of the fun. There you are, Krieg smirked. My crewmate told me a lot about you. Aya looked down at Jin, who was still on the floor. He refused to look at her. Did he now? Aya asked. Krieg began to inch closer to her. Sanji tried to get up. Hey, what are you doing? Run, he warned her. Give me that key, you little runt. Krieg lunged at Aya. Damn it, Sanji hissed, about to jump in to help. But he was shocked to see Aya grab Krieg by his shoulders, pulling herself up, and kneed Krieg right in the face. She jumped over him as he stumbled back and landed behind the pirate captain. I'm not some weak, helpless girl you think that I am, Aya smirked. I'm stronger than I look. Krieg glared down at her, holding his bloody nose with his hand. Everyone stared in shock, while Luffy smiled at her. Before Krieg or anyone else could do anything, Zeph came down the stair, carrying a huge bag of his shoulder. Out of the way, kid, he told Luffy, nearly knocking him down the stairs as he did. Chef Zeph stopped in front of Krieg, placing the bag down in front of the captain. This is about 100 meals. Now, take it to your men right away, he told Krieg. Watch where you're going with that. I was standing there, ya know, Luffy shouted, angrily. Redfoot Zeph! Krieg exclaimed in shock. You can't be serious, a chef shouted in disbelief. If all of those pirates get their strength back, the restaurant will be completely taken over, another one shouted as well. That would be true, if they still have the will to fight, Zeph said, looking at Krieg. Tell me, did your will survive defeat? That can't be. A chef's mouth dropped in shock. The great Don Krieg was defeated? One chef said in disbelief as well. Not even he could do it. A pirate with 50 ships couldn't even make it to the Grand Line, another one shouted. The Grand Line? Luffy and Aya shouted in surprise at the same time. It is you, isn't it? You're Redfoot Zeph? Krieg exclaimed, staring at the old chef in shock. So you are alive. The unrivaled pirate captain who was also the ship's cook. Yes, that's right, I'm still alive. But what does any of this have got to do with you? Zeph told him. I haven't been a pirate for many years now. I chose the life of a cook. Ha ha ha, chose the life of a cook, huh? Yeah, right. You didn't have a choice, old man. Krieg laughed. You live as a cook because the only thing that you can be now is a cook. He was known far and wide. Redfoot Zeph was a master of deadly kicks who never used his hands in battle. He continued to explain. It was said that his mighty legs would crush bedrock into sand and leave footprints on solid steel. Redfoot referred to his boots which became soaked with the blood of his enemies as he beat them down. You know, it really is a pity now that you don't have that precious lead of yours. I heard that rumor some time ago. How unlucky for you to have such an accident at sea. Now, that your greatest weapon has been sacrificed to sea, you're defenseless, completely unable to fight. I don't need to fight anymore, Zeph stated. I'm a cook. As long as I have my 2 hands for that, I'll be just fine. Enough chit-chat, let's get to the point. What do you want from me? Redfoot, you're the one who saw the perilous waters of the Grand Line then came back unscathed. Impressive. There should be a logbook detailing your tactics, a full year of your journey there. Give it to me now, Krieg demanded. And the key as well. I don't know what nonsense you're spouting out, but you are not getting my necklace. Aya threatened him. Your necklace is one of the keys to getting into One Piece. Don't tell me that you didn't know, Krieg laughed. So you've been gallivanting the seas and you didn't even have a clue? You're a sad excuse for a pirate. I'll show you, Aya growled, ready to charge at him. But Zeph grabbed her by the neck of her shirt, holding her back. Don't be foolish, he hissed, scolding Aya. Whoa, so is he saying that you've been to the Grand Line too, Pops? Luffy asked Zeph, turning to him. Yeah. So, my logbook, huh? You're right, I do indeed have a record of my travels, Zeph said. But I will never hand it over to you. You ignorant brute. That logbook is sacred to me. It's the pride of the crewmen that I've sailed with. It's far too important to give to you. All right, I'll take it, Krieg replied. It's true that the Grand Line beat me. Still, I will never give up on it. I am Don Krieg. In the end, it's just another ocean. I had enough weapons and men and ambitions. Regrettably, the only thing I lacked was information. I just didn't know enough. But now I'll fix all that. Once I have your logbook, I'll form another pirate fleet and seize the legendary One Piece. Then I will stand as ruler as this great pirate era. Now, hold on, it's me who's going to be king of the pirates, Luffy interrupted. Wait, don't be such an idiot, Patty shouted at Luffy. You better back off, quarry boy. No way, not from this, Luffy smirked, stepping up to Krieg. Did you say something, kid? Krieg said. I won't allow that type of stupidity again. Yeah, well, stupid or not, I'm just stating the facts as they are, Luffy smiled. This isn't a game, Krieg growled, annoyed. Yeah, I know, but I'm still gonna conquer the Grand Line, Luffy stated. As will I, Aya smirked. I'm going to be queen of the pirates. No, you won't. It's true that we didn't have the information that we needed, but my crew of over 5,000 men was wiped out in just 7 days. You brats, that sea is hell, Krieg shouted. Don Krieg's fleet were wiped out in 7 days? A chef exclaimed in shock. Unfortunately, I don't find your smart asser remarks very amusing, Krieg told the 2 twins. If you insist on this foolish behavior, I'll crush you right here and right now. Go ahead if you can, I had taunted. I can and I will. It will be my pleasure to send you to an early grave, you cocky runt, Krieg shouted. What's going on, Luffy? You need a hand, Zoro smirked. Everyone in the room heard the swordsman's voice and turned their heads to see him and Usopp standing at the top of the stairs. If you don't need help, that's okay too, Usopp said, shaking a little. Did you get lost and end up on the roof? Aya said in a teasing time of voice, smirking. Zoro blushed. No, I did not, he argued. Luffy smiled, looking up at the 2. Oh hey guys, appreciate the offer, but I got it from here, Luffy told them. Oh, too bad, but if you say that you don't need any help, who am I to argue? Usopp shouted, but also shaking from head to toe nervously. Us awesome fighters are just going to sit this one out. Holler if you need us, Zoro whacked him his head. What you do that for, Zoro? Usopp shouted, angrily. Shut up already, you weirdo. Zoro shoved him slightly. Are those 2 guys your crew? Krieg smirked, unimpressed. That's a pretty small group you got there, kid. But that's not all, I got 2 more, Luffy told him. I'm not a part of your crew, Sanji shouted at him. I'll deal with you later. Right now, I'm going to feed my men, Krieg said. Those of you who do not wish to die can leave the restaurant now, can escape that fate. The only things that I'm after are the logbook, the key in this ship. However, if you wish to stay and be slaughtered, I have no problem burying every last one of you at sea, know that. Outside from the restaurant, the 2 bounty hunters, Johnny and Yosaku, and Nami were waiting on the Mary. It just got real quiet, Yosaku said. If Big Bro Zoro is in there then everything should be fine, Johnny replied. Yeah, I know, but what if it's not? Yosaku asked. Good point. Big sis Nami, should we go in there too? Johnny asked her. What do y'all think? Big sis? Yosaku asked. But he received no response from her as well. Hey, are you okay? Johnny asked. Nami noticed the two were talking to her and she quickly turned around, hiding the wanted poster of the shark man, clutching it tightly behind her back. Yeah, I'm fine. Is something wrong? I'm so sorry, Sanji. I never thought that it would be this way, Jin said. You have nothing to apologize for, sir, Zeph told Jin. Every cook in this restaurant did what they thought was right. That's all there is to say about that. Boss, why are you acting as if you're taking Sanji's side? Patty shouted. This mess is his fault. He's right, Sanji's is responsible for this whole damn thing, one chef pitched in. Yeah, boss. That man's going to put your precious restaurant out of business. Another one shouted as well. You fools don't know what you're talking about. None of you have any idea what it's like to be on the brink of starvation. To have no food or water on the open ocean. There is no way that you can possibly understand. What a terrifying prospect that is. It is the most difficult situation a man could ever face. Zeph roared out enraged. What? I don't know what you're talking about, Chef Zeph. Patty asked. The difference between all of you and Sanji is that Sanji knows. Zeph told them, if all you're going to do is stand around here grumbling, then leave this place and never come back. I had glanced over at Sanji. So he's been there in that situation before. I wonder what happened for him to be in that situation. I got one is going to stand and fight. Myself if I accepted defeat, a chef shouted. I'm staying too, one chef shouted. After all, this is our restaurant, isn't it? That's right, and this place is all I've got too, another one shouted as well. What are you doing? Jin exclaimed. You saw how powerful Dawn is, right? Hey, Jin, listen up cause I'm only going to say this once, Sanji explained to him. He walked over to a table and kicked it, flipping it right side up and sat down on it. Feeding someone who is hungry is my sacred moral duty. But, now that your crew is well fed I have no obligations with you. With a clean conscience, I can beat every last one into a bloody pulp. If anyone tries to take the restaurant, they're dead. I'll kill them without a moment's hesitation, got that? You're a real head case, Sanji, Patty smirked. Letting them live then threatening to kill them. Can it, cook? Sanji growled at him. See, this guy's awesome, Luffy smiled. Who cares how awesome he is? We gotta get out of here right now, Usopp shouted. Easy there, Luffy, it is Don Krieg but he's in pretty sad to shape, Zoro told him. Hey Jin, you said that you didn't know anything about the Grand Line. But, you've been there. That doesn't make any sense. Luffy questioned him. That's because he lied, Aya frowned, answering for him. What? Why would he do that? Luffy asked, confused. You can be so dense sometimes, Aya sighed. Nothing makes any sense now. Jin started to sweat nervously. He had a haunted look in his eyes, recalling the memory from the back of his mind he tried to suppress. What happened to us on our 7th day of our journey through that cursed sea? I didn't know if it was a dream or reality. But, I was things that's hard to believe. I knew that in my heart that it was impossible. That an entire 50-ship fleet would be completely eradicated by a single man. He continued to explain. It all happened so fast. As soon as this man appeared, he began to systematically sink our ships one after another. If that raging storm didn't come upon us when it did, then that monster would have destroyed our flagship as well. Not a single ship had made it out. It all seemed like terrible nightmare burned into my memory. I just want to forget. His eyes, they were like a hawk's, sharp and murderous. His gaze alone felt like cold hand of death. What did you just say? Zoro's mouth dropped slightly in shock. Well, then that can only be one known as Hawkeye, Zeph explained. Your description of his heartless gaze is proof of his identity and himself. But, the way he decimated your fleet confirms without a doubt that it's him. Hawkeye Mahawk. Zoro shouted in disbelief. Zoro, do you know him? I asked. Yeah, I do. He's the man I've been looking for, Zoro told her. Hawkeye is the guy who's the whole reason I set out to sea. He sounds like a badass, Aya said, smirking. Then she turned to Jin. Did that man have some kind of score to settle with you guys? We didn't do anything to him. Jin told them. Perhaps you disturbed him during a nap. Zeph asked. Stupid cook. Why would he destroy an entire fleet for something so trivial? Jin shouted. There's no reason to shout, it's just an example, Zeph smirked. I thought you want some friendly advice on what kind of a place the Grand Line is. And what kind of a place is that? Aya asked. He probably means that anything can happen there, Zoro replied. Usopp's body began trembling, shaking nervously. Hey, Luffy, do we really have to go there? Usopp asked the Straw Hat Captain. But he received no answer from him. Luffy? That's so awesome. This is going to be such a blast, Luffy shouted, excitedly. Do you understand the concept of danger? Sanji shouted. Fine then, my life's goal will be achieved on the Grand Line, Zoro explained. My rival is out there somewhere and I'm going to find him. Are you that stupid? It's idiots like you guys who end up dead, Sanji said. That may be true, but lay off the name calling, Zoro said. I devoted my entire life into becoming the world's greatest swordsman. I made my choice so I'm the only one who gets to call them stupid. So, you think I'm stupid? Aya frowned. Zoro's eyes widened. What? No, I never said that you were, he sputtered defensively. Hey, what about me? Luffy asked. Me too, right? I mean, it only seems fair, Usopp added in. Shut up, stupid, Zoro told him. What morons, Sanji murmured. Enough. Do any of you maggots understand the current situation? That enormous galleon lured in front of our dear little restaurant is none other than Don Krieg's flagship. So why don't we check back into reality and deal with this? Patty shouted. Hey guys, looks like they're making their move, Aya said. Everyone looked out the windows to see the huge ship advancing slowly towards the restaurant. But, for some strange reason, Krieg's ship stopped. Suddenly, it was split in half by an unknown force as it was demolished. What the? Luffy shouted, surprised. Raise the anchor or we'll sink along with them, Zeph told a chef. Yes, sir. The chef nodded. Wait, Nami and the guys are still on the ship out there, Zoro shouted. Zoro ran out as did Luffy, Aya and Hello along with the other cooks and Sanji, seeing the damaged pieces of Krieg's ship scattered everywhere. Hey big bro, Yosaku shouted. Big bro, Johnny shouted. Yosaku, Johnny, Aya called out, running over to them, the others did as well. Are you okay? Luffy shouted. What happened to the ship? Where's Nami, is she okay? Zoro the two bounty hunters. I'm sorry, big bro. I don't know how to say this but, she's gone. Big sis Nami, Johnny shouted. She took all of the treasure and sailed away, Yosaku shouted as well. She did what? Luffy, Aya, Zoro and Usopp all screamed out at the same time. As the waves began to settle, Zoro noticed something else sailing in the water. Krieg's crew began panic in fear. Zoro's eyes widened in shock. In the small boat with an eerie green flame, there was a man. On his back, there was a large black sword that resembled a cross encrusted with some jewels on it. He had short black hair, a beard, mustache, and sideburns that pointed upwards. He was wearing a dark wide-brimmed hat with a large plume hanging off the side. Hanging around his neck was a small golden cross, a long opened black coat, shirtless, with red flower designs on the sleeves and collar, and light purple pants held up with a decorative buckle and long black boots. However, what stood out the most was the man's golden yellow eyes, that looked like a hawk's, sharp and piercing. That man is. No, that bastard, he followed us back, Krieg exclaimed. It's him. He's here, Zoro said. Hawkeye, what did you say? Aya shouted in disbelief. The four had pulled Johnny and Yosaku out from the water. The two bounty hunters were panting as they were lying on the barati, soaking wet through their clothes. For real? Nami sailed off with the Going Merry? Luffy questioned. I need a straight answer. Now what happened? Zoro demanded. Well, it all happened in a few minutes, Yosaku cried as he started to explain. Hey, whatcha looking at, big sis? I don't mean to pry or anything, but what are you looking at? Oh, it's nothing really, Nami replied. Hey, now that's a big bounty pirate. I gotta say I'm impressed, Yosaku said, seeing Arlong's wanted poster. But, big sis, I got to say, I think you're aiming a little too high going after Arlong. I'm not kidding, that guy's really bad news. He was playing it cool and laying it low for Yano, staying out of sight. But these days, that maniac is causing all sorts of trouble. It's kind of tough walking away from a 20 million belly bounty though, Johnny added. That guy is so powerful that there's a slightest tiniest chance that we could lose or die. Johnny finished. Then the two noticed that Nami had not said a word. Big sis Nami? Johnny asked. Hey, would you guys mind turning around while I change into something more comfortable? Nami asked. The two bounty hunters blushed. Yeah, sure, I don't mind, Johnny shouted. See changing? Like right now? Yosaku exclaimed. It's so hot, Nami said as she pulled down the collar of her shirt, revealing a little of her cleavage. The two bounty hunter pirates blushed completely red now and quickly turned around, looking away. Yeah, you're right, it is hot, the two replied. Hey, what do you say if we turn around and see if she's done or not? Yosaku asked. The two smirked, but suddenly Johnny and Yosaku were kicked from behind and they were knocked off from the Mary, falling into the sea. The two shot out from the water to see Nami, who had a mischievous smirk, looking down at them. What the hell do you think you're doing? Johnny shouted. I'm doing business, of course, use your heads, guys. I'm a thief who only target pirates and my next score is this ship. I never said anything about being a member of this crew. I was just traveling with them, nothing more. Even though I spent a short time with Luffy and the gang, I sure had a lot of fun. Make sure to tell them that. If it's truly meant to be, I'll see them real soon, Nami explained, sailing away with the Going Merry. So, that's the story of how Big Sis Nami took the ship. Johnny finished explaining what had happened. We're sorry, Yosaku answered. Damn it, Zoro cursed angrily under his breath. She just had to make the situation worse. But why would she just suddenly do that? Aya mumbled to herself. She had plenty of opportunities before. She could have left at any time. She's a heartless thief, that's what she is. Kaya gave us that ship, Usopp shouted, angry as well. Wait, I see a ship. It's the Going Merry, Luffy said, seeing the ship not too far off from the horizon. He turned to the two bounty hunters. Tell me where your boat is. We headed lured to the restaurant, Johnny said to him. Zoro, Usopp, don't just stand there. Take the ship and go get Nami, Luffy told the two. Calm down, let her keep the ship. Trust me, that woman's way more trouble than she's worth, Zoro replied. She's the only person I'll accept as the ship's navigator, Luffy argued. Fine, I'll do it. You're one high maintenance captain, you know that? Zoro sighed before he smirked, then he turned to Usopp. Alright, Usopp, let's go. Okay. Usopp nodded. Luffy turned to his twin. Aya, I want you to go with them, he told her. Zoro and Usopp could use an extra hand. Fine, I agree they could use some help, Aya sighed, agreeing and smirked. But, the next one, you owe me fight. Then it's a deal. Luffy grinned back. The ship's ready, big bro Zoro, Yosaku shouted. What about you? Zoro asked. I should probably stick around here until I get things settled with the restaurant, you know what I mean? Luffy told him. Well, be careful, the situation here could get really bad, really fast, Zoro said. Yeah, you got that right. Luffy nodded. Don Krieg. The man WHO destroyed our fleet is back, one of the crewmates exclaimed. What we gonna do? It's him. Zoro stared in shock. Who's that? Luffy asked. That's the man I've been looking for, Zoro answered. Hawkeye Mihawk. So that's Mihawk, Aya murmured, watching the pirate sail up closer. Yeah, the greatest swordsman. Zoro replied, with an eager smirk on his face. That's got to be the guy who destroyed Krieg's ship. He sunk 50 pirate ships out in the Grand Line all by himself, Patty shouted. Looks like he came back to finish the job. But, is that all he wants? A cook shouted. Wait a minute, he just looks like any ordinary man. He doesn't appear to have any special weapons with him, another cook questioned. He carries his on his back, Zeph replied. That's impossible, Patty exclaimed in disbelief. He couldn't have destroyed a galleon like that using nothing but a sword. Hawkeye Mihawk is a true master, Zeph answered. He is without a doubt the greatest swordsman in the world. I never thought that I would meet him soon. My time's come for me to fulfill my promise. Zoro gulped, gripping the hilt of his swords, tensely. Promise. What promise? Aya asked. But Zoro didn't answer her, still focused on the pirate warlord ahead of him. Why, you monster? Why are you doing this to us? One of the Krieg's crew shouted at Mihawk. What the hell have we ever do to you? Just killing time, Mihawk simply replied. Bastard, one of the crewmates fired at him but Mihawk was unharmed. What? I missed. But I aimed straight for him. The crew stared in shock and in fear. He diverted them, Zoro answered, standing behind them. He changed the course of the bullet using the tip of his sword. Several of Krieg's men moved back, shocked to see him standing near them. Hold on, who do you think you are? One demanded. He's got 3 swords, it couldn't be, another said, seeing Zoro's swords. I've never seen a sword handled so gently but with such grace, Zoro said, looking at Mihawk. There's no strength in sword play based on force, Mihawk replied. Did you also use that sword to slice up this ship? Zoro asked. I did. Mihawk answered. Then it's true, you're the best, Zoro smirked. I set sail for only one reason, to meet you. And what is your goal? Mihawk questioned. To beat you, Zoro declared. He pulled out all of his 3 swords. How foolish. Mihawk smirked as he scoffed. You got spare time, so let's do this, Zoro said. Whoa, no way. It's Roronoa Zoro. It's Zoro the 3 swords style, one of the Krieg pirates shouted. It is, another one exclaimed. Really? The pirate hunter? Krieg huffed. He's a what? Sanji asked in disbelief as well. Luffy, you better hurry. The Going Merry is about to sail right out of sight. Usopp shouted. But Luffy was more focused on Zoro and Mihawk. A fight? You're a weak, pitiful creature, Mihawk said. He stood up and from out of thin air he appeared on Krieg's damaged ship, standing not too far off from Zoro. The two stared at each other, narrowing their eyes. If you are a competent swordsman, then we shall see the disparity in our abilities even before we cross swords. I must ask you, why you challenge me? Could it be courage, or is it simply your ignorance? My ambition drives me, also I made a promise that intend to keep, Zoro told him. The greatest swordsman in the world going up against Roronoa Zoro, 2 masters of swordplay. What kind of a fight is this going to turn out to be? Patty murmured. There isn't a person alive who can defeat but bro, Johnny shouted. He's already the best in the world. Mihawk reached and pulled out a small hidden dagger from his cross necklace. Funny, what do you think you're going to do with that? Zoro asked. It'll be more all. You wouldn't kill a fly with a cannon, would you? Mihawk replied. You may have quite the reputation on the East Blue, but that doesn't mean much to me. This sea is by far the weakest of the 4. Unfortunately, I don't carrying blades smaller than this one. I have heard just about enough of your attitude, Zoro growled, gritting his white sword tightly between his teeth. Now, you die, he charged at Mihawk. You have no idea how big the world really is, Mihawk shouted. Onigiri. Zoro swung his swords but they were held back. What the? He stared in shock, seeing his swords were being held back by Mihawk's small dagger. Zoro. Luffy shouted. What? Big Bro's onigiri was stopped, Johnny shouted. But that's crazy. That attack never fails to stop an enemy, Yosaku shouted. What's going on here? I can't move my swords. What has he done? Zoro murmured. No one has been able to defend against that technique. He stopped it with a pocket knife. No, this can't be happening. He can't be this much better than me. There's no way our skills are this far apart. He pulled back his swords and tried to attack Mihawk again. I am not that far behind the world's strongest. But each slice and blow that the swordsman landed on Mihawk was deflected with ease, bouncing off from the dagger that the pirate lord wielded. Mihawk pushed Zoro back as he kicked him. You're just toying with him, right? Fight for real, big bro, Yosaku shouted. Big bro, Johnny shouted. He can't be that much greater than me, Zoro growled, getting back up. He charged at Mihawk again with all his strength, slashing wildly. Such ferocious sword play, Mihawk replied. How could he defend against Zoro's 3 sword style with just one small knife? I asked. He's more of a monster with a blade than even the great Zoro, one of Krieg's men shouted. I did not devote my entire life into swordsmanship to be dispatched by a toy like this, Zoro panted. Sweat now dripping down from his face, glaring up at Mihawk. However, Mihawk stepped to the side as Zoro threw another attack. He landed a blow on the back of Zoro's neck. To become the world's strongest, I have to defeat this man, for her. Zoro stood wobbling as he gripped his swords, facing Mihawk. He tried to strike again but Mihawk dodged again. Exhausted, Zoro fell onto the ground. "What is it then? What weight do you carry upon your shoulders?" Mihawk asked. "Speak up, weakling." "How dare you call him weakling? You'll pay for that," Johnny shouted, angrily. "We'll teach you lesson," Yosaku shouted as well. The two were about to intervene. "No, Yosaku, Johnny, get back here," Aya shouted. "Just stay put," Luffy shouted as well. The two grabbed the two bounty hunters before they could jump off from the ship and slammed their heads against each other, holding the two bounty hunters down. "Luffy, Aya," Usopp whispered. "No, I won't lose. I refuse to be defeated," Zoro shouted, charging at Mihawk. Tiger drop. Mihawk had plunged his dagger into Zoro's chest, just as the swordsman was about to launch his attack. "You are defeated but yet you won't step back. Why not?" Mihawk questioned, in disbelief. "I don't know, but I will not fall," Zoro panted. "Even if I retreat a single step I would be shattering the promise I made. I can't run. I would lose my honor. You see, without that there would be nothing left for me. That's what defeat is," Mihawk raised an eyebrow. "Then I won't accept defeat," Zoro smirked, "then you'll die." "I'd rather die than give up," Zoro exclaimed. "Sir, state your name," Mihawk answered, putting away his dagger into his necklace. "I am Roronoa Zoro," the swordsman declared. "I'll remember it. No one as strong as you had come around in quite some time," Mihawk said. He pulled out his giant black sword from his back. "So as a swordsman courtesy, I'll use the world's strongest black sword to finish you." "Thank you, I appreciate it," Zoro said. "So this is it, in order to be the world's strongest, I'll defeat you." The two charged at each other and sliced. Blood splattered in the air. Two of Zoro's swords were shattered, except the white one in his mouth. A large gash was sliced across Zoro's chest as he fell onto his knees. "I lost. Never in my life could I imagine this. So this is the power of the greatest in the world." Zoro stood up, placing his swords back into their sheaths and turned around, facing Mihawk. He spread his arms out, waiting for him to attack. "But, why?" Mihawk stared in shock. "Scars on the back of a swordsman are shame," Zoro smirked, answering him. "Fine," Mihawk replied. He struck Zoro down with his giant sword. Luffy and Aya, along with everyone else, watched in horror and shock seeing the swordsman was defeated. "Zoro!" Luffy cried out. Zoro fell back, falling into the ocean. "You shouldn't rush things, young man," Mihawk stated. "Zoro!" Usopp shouted. "Big bro!" Johnny shouted. "No!" Aya cried out. She ran and jumped, diving right into the ocean after the fallen swordsman. This is insane. His opponent was way out of his league. How the fight would end was clear from the start. Waicho's death, Sanji stared in shock. "Damn him!" Luffy growled, glaring at Mihawk. "Big bro!" Yosaku shouted. He and Yosaku jumped in as well, following after Aya, to recover Zoro. Luffy shot out his arms and launched himself, hurling straight at Mihawk. The cooks and the Krieg pirates watched in shock and disbelief. "He must be some kind of freak," one of them shouted. "So that loudmouth little twerp has the power of a devil fruit," Krieg murmured. Mihawk stepped to the side and Luffy missed. Luffy crashed head first into some wood, getting his head stuck. "Are you that young warrior's comrade? I'm impressed with you not interfering," Mihawk said, but also a little surprised to see Luffy had devil powers as well. "There's nothing to be upset about, your friend will live." Luffy pulled his head out from the wreckage to see Aya had came out from the water with Zoro, along with Johnny and Yosaku. "Zoro!" Luffy called out. "Come on, let's hurry up and get him out of the water," Usopp shouted, running over to the group as they were pulled aboard the ship. "I got some medicine." "It's far too early for you to die. My name is Hawkeye Mihawk," Mihawk shouted out loud. "You're strong but these is much for you to learn. No matter how many years it takes, I will hold this title, the greatest in the world, and wait for you. Until that day, you must hone your skills then seek me out, Roronoa Zoro." "Zoro, say something, anything," Aya pleaded. "Not just anyone can earn the regard of Hawkeye Mihawk. Zeph hummed to himself. What is your goal? Mihawk asked, turning to Luffy. To be the king, Luffy declared. Mihawk said nothing before turning his head back over to Aya. And what of her? She is going to be queen. Luffy stated. Your ambitions are even loftier than your friend, Mihawk smirked. That's quite a task. Yeah, you just let me worry about that, Luffy frowned, sticking his tongue at the pirate warlord. He's alive, Aya shouted in relief. Zoro coughed out some water. Usopp was cleaning up the swordsman's injury as he placed some medicine on the wound. He was just unconscious. Zoro raised his arm up, holding his white sword in the air. Zoro! Luffy called out. Luffy, Aya, can you both hear me? I'm sorry for disappointing you. I know that you need nothing less than the greatest swordsman in the world. I let you both down, please forgive me. Zoro declared out as he cried, coughing out some blood as well. Zoro, you don't need to say any more. Aya tried to stop him. She placed her hand on top of his. You need to rest. Save your strength. Zoro shook his head. I solemnly swear from this moment forward that I will never lose again. Until the day comes and I defeat him and take his title. I will never be defeated. Is that okay, king and queen of the pirates? Both Luffy and Aya stared in shock at the swordsman's declaration. Yep, Luffy grinned. I wouldn't have it any other wall. You're a good team, Mihawk said, getting back on his boat. I hope to see you again someday. Hey, Hawkeye, Krieg called out. I was under the impression that you would come here and take my life. Weren't you here to kill Don Krieg, ruler of the East Blue? The thought had crossed my mind, but I had enough fun for one day, Mihawk replied. So I'm going home to get some rest. I don't care if you've had enough. I haven't even gotten started, Krieg shouted. He fired at the pirate lord. Now it's time to die. You just won't learn, will you? Mihawk slashed the bullets as well as the sea, creating a huge wave. As the smoke and mist cleared, Mihawk was nowhere to be seen. Damn, he escaped, Krieg growled. Luffy quickly launched back onto the Baratie, startling some of the cooks. Usopp, Aya, go on ahead. I'll leave Nami to the two of you. Luffy called out. Roger that. Don't you worry about a thing. Usopp shouted back. Zoro, Aya and I are going to get her right back, and make sure you get that cook to join our crew, and then we'll finally set sail on the Going Merry to the Grand Line. Yeah, let's do it. Luffy shouted back. Alright men. We ran into a little distraction from our plan, but the real fight starts now, Krieg shouted. Luffy turned to Zeph. Hey Pops, can I stop doing these chores if I get these pirates out of here? He asked the old cook. Suit yourself. It was a hard battle, but Luffy had managed to defeat Don Krieg, saving the Baratie. His debt with Zeph was now settled, and now he can leave and regroup with the others to get Nami back. Surprisingly, Yosaku had returned as he was half-eaten by a panda shark along with Wei, crashing into Sanji right inside of the restaurant. He informed Luffy where Nami was heading and that the others were chasing after her. To Luffy's surprise, Sanji agreed come along to join the Straw Hat Captain's crew as the cook. He was grateful for what Luffy had done to help save the restaurant and the old man. After much thought, Sanji thought that it was time. He was going to follow his dream, to find the All Blue. As Luffy waited outside for him, along with Yosaku on the small boat, Sanji saw the chefs, who were glaring at Sanji, and Zeph were waiting for him outside as well. Sanji headed towards the boat, while ignoring the dirty glares from the cooks until he heard the old chef spoke. Sanji, take care of yourself. Chef Zeph smiled. Sanji stopped dead in his tracks. The only person who had ever cared about him, who he owed his life to, who he thought of as a father figure, was bidding him farewell on his journey. Sanji felt his eyes starting to burn, tears starting to form. As he turned around, he was shocked to see all of the other chefs were crying as well, telling Sanji how much that they were going to miss him. It was all an act. They were actually going to miss him. Chef Zeph, Sanji shouted, bowing his head down to the floor. Thank you for everything, I'll never forget your kindness. I owe my life to you, old man. So, thank you. The chefs cried as well as did Luffy and Yosaku. Damn losers, Zeph sniffed and chuckled as he wiped away a tear from his eye. Real men should part without tears. Just as Sanji boarded the small boat, Zeph called out to him and tossed something at him. Sanji, catch! It sailed in the air, shinning in the sunlight, and Sanji narrowed his eyes, squinting them. He reached out and caught it and looked down to see what it was. His eyes widened to see Zeph's pirate coin. Why would he give him this? Luffy leaned over his shoulder to see what he was holding, and his eyes widened as well in shock. Hey, that looks like Aya's. Why does the old man have a coin like hers? Sanji looked up at Zeph confused. I only trust this to you, Sanji, he told him. See to it that you don't lose it. It is a key to the One Piece. I won't. Sanji smiled as he waved goodbye to him and the other chefs. Tears were running down his cheeks as the boat began to sail away. I will see you again. I'll come back one day. For a while the boat drifted, heading in the direction where Yosaku said Nami and the others went. Luffy was resting on the ship's bow, while Sanji was sitting on the side on top of a crate, smoking his cigarette, looking at the pirate coin, and Yosaku was sitting down on the floor. This weather is perfect, Luffy exclaimed, smiling. He got up and excitedly began running around. So, which way to the Grand Line? Is it that way or maybe this way? He asked, looking in every direction, wildly. That way? Over there? I don't know. Where could it be? I want to know, I want to see. You need to sit down, Sanji shouted, growing annoyed and irritated by the captain's antics. Sorry, I'm just excited that we finally got a cook on board. Now, we just need to get Nami, Aya, Zoro and Usopp. Then nothing will stand between us and the Grand Line, Luffy told him. Sanji smiled and sighed with a dreamy look in his eyes. Aya. I could sit around all day thinking about how beautiful she is. I can't wait till I get to see her again. He grinned even wider, blushing. And I can't wait to see Nami Swan as well. So, are we getting close to where Nami is? You know the island? Luffy asked as he turned to Yosaku. You're way too naive and way too young, don't you get it? Don't you realize every second we're getting closer to the infamous Arlong? Yosaku exclaimed in disbelief. Looking at the two, Nami couldn't stop looking at Erlang's picture when she saw it. And it was a normal kind of staring, it was something different, something focused. He continued to explain. I'm telling you, Nami's planning on taking down Arlong and collecting the 20 million belly, the bounty. For all we know, while we're just sitting here, she's already making her way through his compound. Sanji, let's eat. Luffy smiled at the cook, not hearing a single thing that the bounty hunter had told him. Sounds good, Sanji nodded. Don't tell me that you guys are so clueless that you've never actually heard of the evil Arlong? Yosaku shouted. No, so who is he? Luffy asked. Yeah? Sanji asked as well. Listen up, boys, time for your education on the pirate shark that is Arlong, Yosaku told them. Arlong is a fishman who used to destroy everything in his path up and down the Grand Line. Fishman? Sanji questioned. That's cool, I don't think I've ever met one of those before, Luffy rocked in excitement. I've heard that the females on Fishman Island are some of the most beautiful creatures in the world to behold. Sanji smiled while Luffy was drawing something in a sketchpad. Fishman sounds weird, he asked Sanji, showing his badly drawn drawing to him. It was a fish with multiple fins, human legs, and googly eyes. Sanji laughed. Do they look like this? Can't you focus for just one moment, please? Yosaku shouted, angrily. Alright. I will start from the very beginning. The reason they call the Grand Line a pirate's graveyard in the place is because of Arlong and the other two powers like him who rule over it. The first of the powers are known as the 7 Warlords of the Sea. 7 Warlords? Luffy asked. The 7 Warlords are pirates authorized by the government, the bounty hunter said. Seriously? Why would any pirate of the sea want government approval? Sanji asked. For protection. The government looks the other way. In exchange for a cut of their treasure, then they are allowed to do what they want. The first other pirates are government dogs, but they didn't get to where they are by being weird. These guys are powerful. The man with is one of these warlords. His name is Hawkeye Mahawk. Yosaku explained. That is so cool, I can't wait to meet all 7 of these guys. They sound awesome. Sanji stared at Luffy in disbelief. They had just met Mahawk. How dense could this straw hat be? Yeah, well, the first among the warlords at least you should know about is Jinbei, captain of the Fishman. He is dangerous like no one has ever seen, easily causing as much havoc and destruction around the Grand Line as Arlong. Is this closer? Luffy asked, showing Sanji his drawing with a fish with legs. That looks just like your last picture, only standing up. Arlong has taken control of over 20 towns since coming to the East Blue. His strength easily surpass anyone we've encountered, including that of Don Kriegs. He's devastating. So why do you think Nami would go after this guy all by herself, huh? Sanji asked the bounty hunter. I told you already, she wants to collect the bounty that's on his head. Yosaku told him. Sanji sighed, picturing Aya and Nami as mermaids in his head. Oh, wouldn't it be great if Aya and Nami were mermaids? I'd give anything to see that. She would look like this. Luffy laughed, showing Sanji a very poorly drawn and ugly picture of Aya with a fish head. Tear that up or die, Sanji growled and shouted at him. Have either of you morons heard a single word that I've said to you? Yosaku shouted at the two, completely ignoring him. Sure, something about Fishman, some guy something and some other guy. We get it, Luffy smiled and nodded. No, you don't get it. You've never had to face a fishman, Yosaku pointed out. Well, we will when we get there, so don't worry about it. Luffy brushed him off. Sanji stood up, stretching his arms. I guess I'll get lunch started. About time. Let's eat, Luffy grinned. What are you in the mood for? Sanji asked the two. While Luffy shouted. Salty bean sprouts, Yosaku shouted. Okay, leave it to me. This won't take long, Sanji said as he headed towards the kitchen. Meat and bean sprouts, no problem. Having a cook is the best. Luffy laughed as he couldn't wait to eat. It sure is, Yosaku agreed. Bring me meat, lots of meat. Sprouts, bean sprouts. The Going Merry arrived at an island and Nami stared at the shores of it, not too far off. I can hardly believe it. There it is, she murmured, sadly, my hometown. On the island there was a large building with a pool with a gate leading out to the sea. Above it there was a sign that read, Arlong Park. Inside the compound, there were fishmen pirates as well as marines who were watching the two leaders. There was a giant humanoid that had an appearance of an sawfish shark. He was muscular, a long nose and jagged edges, long black hair, piercing light blue eyes, wearing a fur cap, a yellow cabana shirt with black lightning spots, green shorts with a purple sash and sandals. His fins sticking out from his shirt and gills on his neck. On the left side of his chest was a red tattoo that looked like a sun. There was also another tattoo on his left arm that had his Jolly Roger. It was Arlong. Here's this month's pay. I hope you'll enjoy it, he told the Marine captain as he handed off a stack of money, sliding it to him. The Marine captain had an appearance of a rat, which technically he was. He smirked taking the cash from Arlong. Oh Arlong, you're so much smarter than your run-of-the-mill pirates. You know how the world works. Likewise, there aren't many Marine captains who know that befriending me gets money from the East Blue for eternity. That fact that you understand makes you more like me than any of those Marine out there. Arlong grinned sickeningly. Thank you very much. The Marine smirked. Don't thank me, thank money, it's the only thing that you can count on in this world. Arlong told him. It's more reliable than people, that's for sure, don't you agree? Oh of course, the captain said with a nervous smile. As a rule, I hate all humans, but you are an intolerable exception. Well, if you'll excuse me. The Marine stood up from his chair, ready to leave. Why not stay a while and have a drink with me? Arlong asked him. I would, but the longer that the Marine cruiser stays docked at a pirate land, the quicker we get unwanted attention. I'll kill anyone who reports it, everybody knows that, Arlong told him. Thank you, but we really must be going. The Marine captain dismissed him, shaking his head. He really wanted to leave. Arlong turned to another fishman that looked like an octopus. Escort the captain back to his ship, he ordered him to do so. The boat's back that way. Hop in. The octopus pointed to a giant pot in the pool. Thank you, that's very kind of you. The Marine captain smiled. The fishman laughed. When I see your face, it always makes want to laugh. You look like a rat. Hey Hachi, watch your mouth now. The captain's our honored guest. Arlong scolded him. Oh right, sorry about that. Hachi apologized. Don't worry about it. The Marine told him as he climbed into the pot, along with his soldiers as well. Here we go, men, Hachi shouted as he swam to carry them out. The Marine captain's smile dropped with a look of disgust, dropping his act. These fishmen are disgusting, such a vile group, but they sure do pay well. Nami was standing outside of the park in front of a gate when a small boy came running towards her, carrying a sword. "Hey, you, get out of my way." She turned around, looking down at him with an emotionless look in her eyes. The boy glared up at her with a determined look and some tears as well. He gripped the sword tightly in his hands that were shaking. "Arlong's going to die today. He killed my daddy, so now I'm going to have to kill him. So move or I'll have to kill you too." Before he could do anything, Nami quickly pulled out her staff and smacked it across the boy's face, hard. He was knocked down as he fell to the ground. His sword slipped out of his hands as well. "Now, you should know that Arlong doesn't have time to deal with rippling little punks like you," Nami said. "You're too young, go home. Take that with you and use it to keep yourself out of trouble, kid." She tossed a stack of cash towards the boy, on the ground, as it landed beside him. The child gritted his teeth in seething anger, biting his lip. Tears were running down his face as he cried. "Go to hell," he spatted at her. "Nami, you returned. I haven't seen you around here for quite a while. So, how did you do this time?" Arlong greeted Nami as she walked inside. "Who are you talking to?" She smiled at him. "You know, I can't believe the world is filled with such blank idiots, wanna see?" "You, girl, are one excellent liar," Arlong laughed. "That's true." Nami smirked. "Listen up, everybody, Nami's finally returned. Time for a party," Arlong shouted. More fishmen rose out of the pool and the pirate crew began to throw a huge celebration. Another boat arrived at the island with Usopp, Aya, Zoro, and Johnny on it. Zoro had bandages wrapped around his chest. Usopp and Johnny peeked over the boat, nervous and scared, looking at the island dead in front of them. "All right, we're here," Johnny told them as they pulled up close to the shore. "That's Arlong Park ahead." "Arlong Park, huh? So this is the hideout of Arlong the Fishmen pirates from the Grand Line?" Usopp gulped. "I hope Nami is really here." "Well, we saw her heading in this direction. She has to be here," Aya said. "Big sis Nami brought the Going Merry here. So, before we do anything stupid we should quietly check to see if it's docked around here," Johnny told them. "Good idea," Usopp agreed. Zoro stood up, barely pulling his sword out of its sheath. "Let's attack." Aya snickered and chuckled, seeing the sniper and the other bounty hunters' reaction. Usopp and Johnny yelled out in disbelief. She was up for a little havoc and terrorizing on enemy pirates. But, she was also worried about Zoro's condition. Sure, he was tough, but he was seriously injured after his fight with Mihawk. He was not in any condition to fight right now. "But, I just said that we shouldn't do anything stupid," Johnny exclaimed. "What? Attack? You idiot, we know nothing about this place," Usopp shouted as well. "Yeah, these guys are the fishmen," Johnny added. "We need some kind of plan to do that," Usopp said in agreement as he finished. "While the two of you are busy blabbering and wimping out, I'm placing my thoughts on the battle that we're about to face. Luffy told me to bring her back and I'll do just that. Let's go," Zoro shouted, his back turned from the group, as he pointed his sword towards the island. Usopp and Johnny looked at each thinking the same thought. They both pulled out hammers, turning towards the swordsman to knock him out. But, they stopped when they saw Aya stepping over to Zoro. "Hey Zoro," she called out to him. Zoro turned around. "What is it?" His eyes widened as he felt a sharp pain on his neck. Crack! Aya had pressed a pressure point in the swordsman's neck before he could react to stop her. Zoro felt his eyes growing heavier and his vision went dark as he passed out, falling to the floor of the ship. "Take a nap." Both Usopp and Yosaku squealed and stared at her in shock with wide eyes, their mouths slightly dropped. "What have you done?" Usopp exclaimed. "Personally, I was about to do the same thing. What sort of training were the Marines teaching their soldiers?" he thought to himself, staring at her in awe. As always, Usopp was amazed by her strength. She took out Zoro with only just her finger, for crying out loud. What kind of training did she go through? Usopp couldn't help as he stared at Aya. He was falling in love with her even more now. She was amazing, scary, but amazing. "I only stopped him from hurting himself any further," she smiled as she told him, shrugging her hands. "Good idea." Usopp smiled, shaking his HEAG away from her, focusing on the island. "Let's go find the Mary."